Hey, welcome back. Now, in this module, what I'm going to share with you are the bigger ticket back-end models. So we talked about how a book funnel works. We talked about how to actually get the book out of your head and in print without you having to sit down and write anything or spend a lot of money on a ghostwriter. We talked about the one-page webinar framework that you could actually use to simultaneously create a pitch for your ideal information product while getting your book done, which is a really good use of time. Talk about killing two birds with one stone. Then we talked about yesterday your ways of writing copy. So I gave you the framework for writing long-form sales copy that is really, really effective. And you can write it by filling in those blanks of all of the chunks I gave you yesterday and put them all together and you'll have something pretty good. And the most powerful thing, or at least one of them, likely is going to be for you those bullet point formulas. Because as we know, the more bullets we use, especially if we really write them according to those formulas, the more powerful your sales message can be. Then I shared with you the $1 billion video sales letter framework. So how to use stories and to evoke emotion in video to make sales. And I gave you examples of how to do that if you're just talking over a PowerPoint presentation. And I showed you some examples of how to do it speaking direct to camera. So if we take all of that stuff and put it together, you have now the knowledge of here's how to create the book funnel, here's how to have the products for the one-click upsells, here's how to create the product for a Slack adjuster if you want to. And the next part of our book funnel, like we talked about yesterday, in fact, I'll draw it for you, is going to be our 10x revenue multiplier. So we've got the book, right here, and we've got the funnel, which I gave you a walkthrough of, right here. Right? That's a beautiful drawing of a funnel right there. And this helps us make a quick profit over ad spend, right? So when I show you my advertising numbers, this is how we're doing that. Okay? And then we have our Slack adjuster, right? And this could be a modulated course. It could really be any of, well, not any of the 5 types of information products I shared with you, but it could be a bread and butter product. It could be a modulated course, something like that, right? That would work really, really well. And now the next phase of this is our 10x revenue multiplier, right? So the question is, what can we sell here? Well, one answer is we could sell more of this. Right? If you want to, you could make this all about even more Slack adjuster style products. But some people want to sell something that's even bigger ticket. So what I want to do with you right now is I want to show you some big ticket offers that you can make, and I want to show you how to fulfill them. So these are really your 10x cash flow multiplier type offers. So the first one is going to be consulting / coaching, right? And we're going to define this very loosely as you individually advising a client, right? So you can call it consulting, you can call it coaching, but the bottom line is this is one-to-one. You're working one-to-one with somebody, and it's typically done through Skype or GoToMeeting or over the telephone or whatever. Rarely is this done in person unless it's a much larger type of deal, which is really a different animal altogether. Okay, so the first thing that we need to understand is the mechanics of actually doing this. So a lot of people who get started in this and are qualified to do it, which I think everybody is qualified to do it, assuming they can actually help someone get results, is, well, how do I actually do it? You know, do I talk to them every day? Do I talk to them once a week? Do I talk to them twice a week? Once a month? How do you do it? Well, the answer is going to be personal preference. Here's what I found. All right. Before I tell you what I personally found, I'll tell you something very, very shocking and very, very interesting. So I have a client. His name is Chuck. He is awesome. Really cool dude. Chuck, if you're watching this, I hope you're well. And Chuck's brilliant. And his job, his business, is to coach people in a very narrow but huge, monetarily huge niche. These companies that manufacture certain devices in healthcare. Right? So it's like this really, really obscure niche. And his mission is to coach their CEOs and their, C-suite executive teams on the topic of reinvention. So reinventing the company culture, reinventing the company's position in the marketplace, and all of that is like really kind of very cerebral stuff, but they love it and it's very, very helpful to them. His offer here for coaching, consulting, whichever one you want to call it, is $25,000 for an 8-month deal. Okay, so whatever the math is on that, what is that? $3,000 a month or something, or be close enough, yeah? So math is not an exact science. So he gets $25,000 to talk to these folks for 8 months. I'm like, okay, dude, well, how does it work? Like, what do you talk to them every day, every week? And he's like, man, I talk to them once a month. And my brain is thinking, for that kind of money, surely you've got to like show up at their house with flowers and stuff or something, right? And he's like, nope, once a month. I'm like, well, don't they want more? I mean, how are you able to help them? He goes, dude, these guys are so busy that if I try to talk to them more than once a month, I become an annoyance to them. And I become like a burden on them instead of someone that's actually helping them. So it's not me telling them, hey, you can only talk to me once a month. It's them telling me once a month is plenty, right? So a lot of times when you start considering this world of one-on-one coaching or consulting, our brain wants to say, oh, I got to talk to him every single day, or twice a week, or once a week, or whatever. Here's what I found personally. So take from this what you will. For me, in my practice, when I work one-on-one with people, the ideal situation was one call every other week. So it's twice a month. So I'd talk to them, let a week go by, then talk to them again so they could actually implement the stuff we talked to. I found that any more than that, it was too much for them because they have other stuff going on, right? One of the big misconceptions we have as marketers is that we think that our clients and our prospects are sitting around thinking about us all day. They're not. They have their own lives, right? So for me, the big key is going to be every other week is one call. And typically I make that call 45 minutes. Okay? So operationally, that's the first thing that we want to establish. That's how we do it. So now the question becomes, all right, well, how do you sort of run this type of business? And the answer is however you damn well want. Okay? And here's what I mean by that. Consulting and coaching, this one-to-one, is really very much a lifestyle kind of business. The pros of it are it's a really cool lifestyle kind of business. The cons to it are kind of hard to scale it if you're doing one-on-one work to say more than $1 million or so per year, right? If you want to earn more than $1 million or so per year, this one-to-one where you're doing the work personally might not be the best thing. But if you're cool with $1 million a year, this is great. So the first thing you want to figure out are these two very, very important aspects. All right? Actually, let's make this, we'll draw this. This is a happy person. This is to signify that you are happy. So now, in order for you to be really happy, we need to understand, one, how much money you want to make every month. And we need to understand, two, this is going to be a clock. This is 12. There we go. That's a clock. How much time you want to spend working. Okay? So the first thing you got to figure out is how much money do I want to make per month and how much time am I willing to spend in order to make that money. Okay? So from there we start figuring out what this looks like. But we don't want to do it backwards. We want to build the business to suit you. Okay? So the next thing we do, hope I don't run out of paper here. The next thing we do is we now figure out, okay, we got that figure. Let's say that you want to make $100,000 a month, and I'm just throwing that out there for easy math, okay? And you want to work 3 days a week, and that's going to be Monday through Friday, okay? And you're willing to talk to 5 clients a day, Monday through Friday. So really, this is 15 work hours per week. You want to take whatever it is. Not Monday through Friday, I'm sorry. Monday through Wednesday. 3 days a week is Monday through Wednesday. You want to work Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. You don't want to work Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. And you don't want to work 8-hour days on these days. You want to chill out some, and you want to talk to 5 clients a day. And really, that's about as many clients as you should be talking to in a day. Otherwise, you'll burn out. Okay? So that's pretty sweet. All right? So first, let's look at how do you schedule this? How do you make this work? So a typical deal, a typical day, is going to be, let's say, this is Monday through Wednesday, right? this is how you would schedule your working days. So you would have, I already wrote this out so I wouldn't embarrass myself publicly, from 9 to 10, you have a call. From 10:30, you take a break. Okay, from 10:30 to 11:30, you have a call. All right? From 11:30 to 12, you take a break. And of course, you could figure this any way you want to, right? I'm just giving you a sample scenario. Break. Okay? From 12 to 1, you have a call. From 1 to 2, you take lunch. You take a nice little hour lunch break there. Chill out of the house, watch a little TV, whatever you want to do. Hang out. Then from 2 to 3, you have another call. And from 3 to 3:30, you take a break. Okay, and 3:30 to 4:30, you have a call. Use my penmanship. So I think we have now created a schedule, a daily schedule, where we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 calls during that day. So it looks like you're working 9 to 4:30, but you're not really, because you got 30 minutes, 1 hour, 1 hour, 30 minutes, right? So whatever that is, you've got almost, 3 hours of breaks in here. So you're really only working 5 hours a day. Now, what I recommend that you do for your calls is each call is set to be 45 minutes, which gives you a 15-minute buffer or so to prepare for the next call or whatever, assuming you have them back to back. But this is how we do it. So this is your Monday through Wednesday, right? So now if we know this, that means that we can talk to, if we're doing 5 calls a day, 3 times a week, how many clients can we talk to in 1 week? 15, right? Change my marker color. Keep everything kind of cool here, okay? So we got 15 calls per week, okay? So that's doing 5 calls a day, Monday through Wednesday. We're taking the rest of the week off. We're done. We're out. I'm out, right? Okay, so now if we're doing 15 a week, that means if we're talking to them every other week, that means if I talk to these 15 people this Monday through Wednesday, next Monday through Wednesday, I don't have to do anything. But if I want to make $100,000 a month, I probably should get more than 15 clients. So what you really are doing is if you're saying, I'm going to talk to 15 clients a week, you can actually have 30 clients, right? Because in week 1, you talk to 15. Week 2, you talk to the next group. Week 3, you talk to the same ones you talked to in week 1. Week 4, you talk to the same ones you talked to in week 3. So you take that weekly number and you multiply it by 2. That gives you the total amount of clients that you need. So if I have 30 clients, which allows me to talk to 15 a week, which means I'm working Monday through Wednesday, I'm only 3 days a week. If I'm taking 30 clients and I want to make $100,000 a month, the question is, how much now do I need to charge per client? Okay, and the answer is a little bit under, but I'll just round up, $3,400 per month. So what we just did is we just built a blueprint to $1.2 million a year, working 3 days a week, right? Now, does it take work to get there? Of course it takes work to get there. Does it take skill to be worth $3,400 a month? Yeah, of course it takes skill to be worth $3,400 a month. So how do we actually earn this $3,400? So the first thing you want to do is you don't say, what do I got to do to earn $3,400? You say, what is the ideal criteria of someone who would pay me $3,400 a month and have that be an absolute no-brainer? So from here, you're going to reverse engineer who your perfect customer is, right? So I actually did this model personally. That's why I was able to rattle it off for you so quickly. And I charged between $3,800 and $9,700 a month just messing around, like testing prices and stuff. And my criteria was they got to be selling something that was about $2,000 or more. So that had to be their average product value. They needed to have a list, and they needed to be getting traffic. So for me, if a client met this criteria, right, it was real easy for me to make them more than $3,400 a month by saying, okay, send this to your list, Change your homepage to say this. Let's add this one-click upsell or whatever. So I call these, by the way, those little things like one-click upsells, campaigns, copy, etc. I call all of these things your bag of tricks, right? So I know that I got a skill set that I call my bag of tricks, and when I'm trying to figure out, okay, how am I going to get $3,400 a month, what I really do is I want to reverse engineer and say, who has, what type of criteria does someone need to have where they can instantly get way more than this by me applying my bag of tricks, right? So does that make sense? So yeah, of course, if anyone's got a list and they're getting a lot of traffic and they sell something that's worth $2,000 or more, I can deploy my bag of tricks and I can immediately get them way more than they're paying me, and they're going to be happy. All right, so mechanically, how do you run this business, right? Well, what I did was I would just talk to them every other week and be like, okay, dude, what do you want to work on? Oh, yeah, okay, well, here's what you do, here's what you say, here's what you write, let me see the copy, oh, yeah, fix that, and it was fine. What I later went on to discover is a lot of times they would be like, all right, dude, that's great, and then they'd hang up and they would resume their lives, which are very, very busy, which is why the every other week schedule is so effective, and they wouldn't get it all done. So I came up with a way to make it even more valuable to them that requires approximately 0 extra work on your part. You want to hear it? Here you go. Okay, so when you have your calls with them, do it on a recorded line. You can use freeconferencecall.com. You can use GoToMeeting. Like, it doesn't matter. Zoom.us. Just do it in a way that it can be recorded. You want to have that recording transcribed and edited, which if your call's about an hour, it's going to cost you maybe $60 to do that. Transcribed, edited, and then you want to send that edited transcription to them via FedEx with a cover letter, which lists the action points of the call. And that allows them to stay focused and actually implement what you talked to them about, right? So this is the consulting model in a nutshell. Right? This is one way to do it. And of course, I'm going to show you campaigns that we've used to sell big ticket stuff during this presentation. But first, I want to show you the models. All right, so that's consulting. Now, the next one, and consulting again, is a perfect one-to-one consulting, right, on a monthly fee-based thing. It's a perfect lifestyle kind of business. Again, it's really good. I think you can probably scale it up to where you're not going to overwork yourself if you're maybe get up to $2 million a year or something. But over that, you're going to be like, it's going to be just too much, I think, for one person to do unless you have a team of people, and that's a totally different model, right? So it's a very great lifestyle business for $1 million, maybe getting up to 2, but figure out 1.5 or something. So 1.5, really good lifestyle kind of business, right? Awesome. Hey, when I'm old, I'll probably do that model, right? Maybe, I don't know. I probably will never stop doing what I'm doing, but I always think, when I'm like 65 or 70 and I've decided to stop working all the time, which is unlikely, I think, well, maybe I'll, go back to doing some consulting, take a few clients, make $1 million a year or whatever, and just kind of relax. Hang on. So the next model is a more leverageable model, and this one is group coaching, okay? That's not that's the new way to spell group. G-R-O-A-P. We're going to call it group coaching. It's a new niche. It's very popular. It sells itself in some circles. Group coaching. I don't know about you. I absolutely cannot write or do any sort of calculations while talking. My brain just won't do it. So forgive me if I do something dumb like that. It's just the way it works for me. So here's how group coaching works. You take your knowledge and you share it with a small group of people, and you do it on a curriculum, and they pay you every month for that. And the big value they're getting is that interaction with you and the interaction with their peers. So you have a group of people who are all of like mind. They're all trying to accomplish the same mission, and you're helping them. And I have discovered what I believe is the most leverageable, time freedom-oriented way to do this, that also is of probably the greatest possible benefit to your customers. So I'll walk it through you right now. So group coaching is going to be you giving the same information, so I'll call this help, to a group of people. And I have used this model to sell group coaching for as much as $3,800 a month per person. If you're doing a higher ticket group coaching and on a monthly basis, which is what this model really is, it's a monthly basis thing, I recommend you want to keep each group to be kind of small, right? So maybe 20 people max per group, all right? And so all of these guys, you're giving the same help to this many people. So how do we do this in a way that's going to really maximize your time and give you the most leverage? It's something I call the triple touch model. And let's see if I have enough paper. I do. Once again, flipchart.it. If you want a giant flip chart like this, you can't seem to get one in the United States. Go to flipchart.it. They shipped it to us so quickly, knowing we had this live presentations to work on, and they were awesome. So thank you again, nice people at flipchart.it. And no, they don't pay me to say that. But if I'm ever in Italy, I want a good meal, and I eat a lot. Okay, so here's how the triple touch method works. Okay, first thing you got to understand is what you're teaching is your first language. All right, so you're probably watching this right now. And you're like, dude, that's cool. And you probably have questions, right? And you're like, oh, how do you do that? And what exactly do you say on the calls? And how do you structure the calls? And how do you get these group coaching clients and all of that kind of stuff? Now, to me, I'm like, oh yeah, you just do the triple touch method, or you talk to them every other week and you record it and transcribe it and send them the thing. The reason it's so easy to me is because this is my first language, right? This is all I do. Now, your area of expertise, metaphorically, is like your first language, right? So like English is my first language. I have an excellent command over it. I'm unconsciously competent, arguably, in the English language. Right? So it's really easy for me to speak. If I'm trying to teach the English language to somebody, and I want to say, yeah, so if you want to say hello to someone, you just kind of walk up to them and say, hey man, how's it going? And they're like, okay, what? Hey, how it goes, man? And you're like, no, dude, it's hey man, how's it going? Right? And they're like, wait, how do you say that? And you're going to have to spend a lot of time simply trying to teach someone who doesn't speak your first language how to say something as simple as, hey man, how's it going? And the reason why is because they're not as completely immersed in that topic as you. So the first thing you've got to realize before you ever create one of these products is what you know, what you have in here and in here is way more than you realize, right? It's so important because your customers, they don't have it, and you're taking your knowledge for granted most of the time, all right? So with that said, here's how the triple touch method works. First thing you need to do is you need to, in your mind, establish a curriculum, right? So do you remember where we talked about the escape and arrival framework? Whoops, this guy needs to be unhappy. There we go, oh, I'm unhappy. All right, and he needs to arrive to happy. And we talked about really the greatest marketing methodology and the greatest teaching methodology we could do is to understand that our prospects want to escape from a situation that they don't like or a result that they don't like, and they want to arrive to someplace, a situation or whatever that makes them happy. And it's our job to map out the milestones on how to get them there, right? So let's say you're wanting to escape from not having a big ticket model and you want to arrive to having one. First thing that we got to do is we got to identify model, okay? So we got to identify what model works best for you. Actually, first thing we got to do is we got to figure out your money and time, how much money you want to make, et cetera. Then we need to identify which model fits in with that. Then we need to build your delivery. Then we need to get clients, right? So these are the four things that we got to do. So if you're taking that concept and you're going to do group coaching and you're going to use the triple touch method, before you do a thing, you need to do this for your future clients, right? You need to know, hey, what are the exact steps in the exact order that they need to go through to go from unhappy to happy, right? And then you build your curriculum based on that. And here's how you do it. In the triple touch method, okay, this is you. You present your information to them on a monthly basis like this. On week number 1, you hold a webinar, right? This can be pre-recorded, and you don't need to pretend that it's live. So it could be a webinar, it could be an online video, but you release content teaching that first milestone, all right? Now, in your mind, because it's your first language, you're going to be like, okay, I taught you that milestone, good, let's go to the next one, right? Not right. It's your first language. See, they don't know what you know. So they're going to have a ton of questions. So in week 1, you're like, okay, group of people, here's our mission for this month. In week number 2, what you're going to do is you're going to do a group call. You're going to do group Q&A. And you could do this on freeconferencecall.com, you could do it on zoom.us, you could do it on GoToWebinar, you could do it on Webinar Jam, it doesn't matter, right? But you get everybody in one call, and you answer their questions about this, because they're going to have questions about that, because it's not their first language. Week number 3, by the way, guess how long this takes? This is going to be about an hour, right? So we're in this for an hour now, all right? Week number 3, what you want to do is now you have another Q&A call, and the focus of this call is on implementation, right? Sorry for my bad handwriting that says implementation. Because it's not like, there's anything wrong with your group. They're not dumb. It's not their first language, right? So they're going to need your help in consuming the content, answering the questions. Now they're going to need your help actually putting this stuff to work. So in week number 3, you take an hour and you're like, okay, Jim, so how do you plan to implement this? Okay, let me see it, what you're doing, etc., or what happened, and so forth. Okay, and all right, Sally, how you doing? How's everything coming? So you're just really helping them assimilate and implement the knowledge. And finally, in week 4, you do another Q&A, and this one is review and tweak plus plan. So in this case, you say, okay, you implemented that stuff last week. What happened, right? And you review it, and then you help them make changes and calibrate whatever it is you're teaching if necessary so you can move them closer to the next step. And then you help them plan the goals for the next month. All right, so this month we got this milestone done. This is awesome. Congratulations. You did a good job. Here's what you need to change. You need to work on, etc. And here's our plans for next month. And the next month you do the whole thing. Now, if we look at this, right, number 1, very beneficial. Most importantly, very beneficial to your customer. Okay? Very beneficial, because you're the only person actually taking the time with every step, answering the questions in a group. They can interact with the other people in their group. They can say, oh, how's that guy doing it? Oh, cool, I can learn from him, etc. Nobody else really takes that time, slows it down, treats it like it's their 9th language, and really helps them embrace that. So most important thing, super beneficial to your customer. Biggest thing we could do, okay, is help or be a benefit to other people. Other huge benefit is all of these guys are paying you, and you spend 0 time actually delivering this, because this is pre-recorded, 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. So you're at 3 hours for the month using this type of content delivery, right? So group coaching, if you're not doing it and you want to have a highly leveraged thing that A, gives you a lot of free time, B, allows you to charge a premium price, and C, most importantly, really helps people, that's the model on how to do it. So our next one is very similar. And this one is called, this is the next model here, the next big ticket thing we can sell. And this is called the Transformational Class. I'll abbreviate, okay? The Transformational Class. So, yesterday, in our last module, keep looking at the wrong camera, sorry, hang on. So glad you guys are here, by the way. I love teaching this stuff. Yesterday, in our last module, we talked about the 5 different types of info products, right? And one of them was a modulated class. Okay, and modulated classes are awesome. A transformational class has really the same framework. Okay, so we outline, before we create the class, we do our escape and arrival framework. Whoops. This guy's happy, this guy's sad. I'm just making everybody happy today. Where we help them, we figure out what they have to do, in what order to go from being unhappy to happy. Right? And we say, okay, first you got to do this, second you got to do this, third you got to do this, fourth, fifth, sixth, you got to do this. And each one of these main milestones now becomes a module in our transformational class. These are usually between, let's say, 6 and 8 weeks. Right? And the way this works is in week 1, first of all, everybody starts at the same time, right? So that's really beneficial to you, because you can use genuine scarcity in your offer. You can say, hey, class starts on this day. Okay, and because I'm teaching it live, I can only take X amount of people. So first thing, class starts on week 1, or class starts at the same time. Second thing, everyone's trying to do the same mission, right? It is very mission specific. It's how to go from here to here, okay? Third thing, is the way you do it is you release content here. Let's say every week your content is released on a Monday, all right? And then every week on a Thursday, you do a Q&A about that specific module, right? And this is called the Transformational Class. The reason that you can charge so much more for it than you can a typical modulated class is twofold. Number one, you keep the class size small, typically. All right, so you might not want to exceed, say, 50 people in a class or something, because you want these Q&A calls to be very, very beneficial. You want to be able to talk to every single person, answer every question you can, and really do a good job. So that gives you a legitimate reason to limit the class size, right? So that's one reason that you can really charge significantly more for this than your traditional modulated class. And the other is, of course, they get so much live in-person interaction with you during these Q&A calls, because you know this, right? A course by itself is very beneficial. A course with personal help from the author is even more beneficial, right? Obviously, like that helps a lot more. So the next module you do in week, so this is week 1, right? Next module is week 2. Next module is a week later, and so forth. And you just take each milestone. You teach one milestone a week. It could be one long video. It could be a bunch of short videos in a members area. You don't really have to use a members area. I mean, the people that are paying this type of stuff aren't going to be pirating it to their friends. And guess what? If they want to pirate it, members area is not going to help you anyway, right? The password's not going to matter. They're going to YouTube it or rip the video somehow, so who gives a damn? Okay, so this is how you do it. I have sold these. My cheapest one ever was $6,400. My most expensive one was $10,000, right? And I have sold tons of these, and it works great, really, really, really well. All right, so that's how you do the transformational class. It's literally just like a modulated course from yesterday. The difference is small class size, everyone starts at the same time, lots of live interaction from you every week during the Q&A sessions, right? Huge, really, really big, really works well. So that's your next model. So the next big ticket offer is going to be, where do we have her here? Oh, look at this. Actually, I'll tell you this one. I don't have it written on here. The next one is a new one that I've kind of discovered, and this is the best one ever, right? For me, this is what we do. This is all we do. And I call this upscale continuity. So as you know, we have something called the Kern Inner Circle. I talked a lot about it yesterday. I'll talk about it some more in a little bit. And the Kern Inner Circle is $397 a month. So it's not a big ticket thing like this, right? But if you do it right, your subscribers will stay forever because they like you and you're genuinely helping them. So I've tested 2 prices for this. I tested $297 years ago with something I had called Mass Control Monthly. And now I have Kern Inner Circle. It's $397. Here's what we deliver in this. All right, so what we deliver, number 1, is live interaction. You'll notice all of these models have a component of live interaction. To me, this is critical, right? It's absolutely critical that if you want to be worth a lot of money to your clients, you have to help them as best you can. And because it's not their first language, and because it is, they're going to have logical questions that you're not even going to think of because you're so entrenched in what you're doing, you don't realize that they don't know what you know, right? So this live interaction component is key. So the first thing you have is live interaction. We do it. We started doing it at first, was 2 times a month, per month, with me personally. Right? And we do these live video conferences. So I'm in my studio now. It usually has a slightly different setup. Usually you can see the screen behind me. Oh yeah, you can see it right there. And what will happen on these live video conferences is we have 2 formats. Format number 1 is pre-meditated hot seats. So what I'll do in this, and what I recommend you do, is the call looks like this, right? In the first 10 minutes or so, I'll teach a new concept, right? So I will have discovered something cool that week, or there's something very important I want to share with the group. I'm like, all right, guys, before we call, let me show you this. This is really cool. So like I'll show them how we're making money from Facebook Messenger ads automatically, which is really cool. Or I'll show them a copy hack. Or 2 weeks ago on our last one, I showed them this one little thing I did in my book funnel that doubled the value of every book buyer instantly. So I'll just be like, okay, here's this one thing. Let me show you. It's really, really cool. And then for a premeditated hot seat, what we do is we'll have members submit questions in advance, and I will go really, really deep on answering those questions. So I'll build slides for them. I'll take screenshots of their websites and all of that kind of stuff. And I'll present that during the call. And we'll usually take like 6 or 7 of them, right? So it'll be caller 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. And all of these folks are actually on the call live, right? So they can come on because we're using zoom.us, which is really cool. We're able to bring them on through their webcam, and I'm talking to them just like they're here, and everybody else is able to watch and be like, oh yeah, I'm going to try what he's telling that dude to try. Oh man, I got that same problem. And it's really, really cool. So that's framework number 1. Framework number 2 that we do is going to be called lightning round, right? And it follows the same framework or format where I begin, where I always like to begin, where I show them some cool stuff, right? Like, hey man, here's some really cool stuff that we just discovered. Because again, it's my first language. I do marketing stuff all day, every day. It's a freaking Sunday. To me, the only reason I know when it's on Sunday is because our nanny's not there, right? Our nannies don't work on Sundays and Mondays. I have no weekends. I don't want weekends because I love what I do. This is my first language, right? So I've always got something cool to show them because my members aren't, doing this 24/7 like me. In most cases, they're normal, rational people, and they have normal brains. So you never run out of stuff for your first 10 minutes of the call. But the lightning round format is I'll be like, okay, guys, here's what we're going to do today. I'm going to open it up for questions, and you've got 90 seconds to ask the question, and then I'll give you the answer. And they'll come on, they'll be like, all right, dude, here's the question, blah, 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 blah. And I'll be like, all right, sweet. And then I'll just pull up their website or whatever, and everyone can see it right there on camera, and I'll go through those questions. And it's awesome. And we go until we're done. And these usually take, for me, they'll take like 2 hours or so. I don't think I've ever had one be less than 2 hours. And they feel like 10 seconds, right? Because it's fun. I mean, really, I would do this anyway, right? I love it. It's fun. So you're probably the same way, whatever your area of expertise is. Like if you find yourself at a party and you're talking about the thing that you're into that you would do this on, and you're talking about it anyway, and you're like, man, this is really cool having this conversation. This is a perfect model for you, right? Because you're basically getting paid to talk about and do the thing that you talk about anyway, which is awesome, right? So that's our first thing that we do. What we then evolved to, when we recently evolved to this, is more live interaction twice a week. So now we also have live workshops. So we have implementation workshops, and we have Facebook training workshops. And these are led typically by other people, right? And these are people on our team. So it's not like random people. So the people who do our implementation here, the tech stuff, I used to do it, but after breaking it every single time, it would work almost, I finally got someone else to help me. And then our agency, Dominate Web Media, they do Facebook Fridays for us, right? So this is really cool. So this in and of itself provides enough value for the members. Probably we could just do this and the members would be happy. But we also, for the same model, we also mail stuff, right? So we mail a big package of stuff every month. And in that, we mail 1, a newsletter. We mail 2, a campaign. And we mail 3, videos. And these are sent on a hard drive because nobody uses a DVD player anymore. And so what this does is this allows our members to have something. Here's one of them right here. This allows our members to actually have something that they can hold in their hands. Here we go. That they can use. Right? Because you don't want to read stuff on your computer all the time. It kind of sucks. You get distracted. So people like getting things in the mail, right? And then we have our little hard drives. Let's see if one's in here. Yeah, and the hard drives, this comes right here. It's like a little credit card size drive. That's got videos of me explaining how to do all of this stuff. Okay, so we provide that for people, and we provide community. Okay, so we provide community as well, where people can interact with each other. We just do that through a private Facebook group. I also have 2 live events per year, sometimes 3, depending on what the schedule is. And we just invite members to do that, and it's literally just me teaching the entire time. So this is all we do, this one model. This is personally my favorite model, and the reason why is because I get paid to do what I would do anyway, which is awesome. And you can get paid to do what you would do anyway, which is great. So that's reason number 1. Reason number 2 is it is infinitely scalable, right? I could grow this thing to 1 million members if I wanted to, and I'm still working every other Wednesday. I'm putting 2 hours a day in to do the calls, right? And I like doing it anyway. And in the worst case scenario, which wouldn't be bad at all because I really enjoy doing it, is I would need to do a call every Wednesday. Like if we grew it triple in size or something, I might be like, I need to do more calls. Oh no, please don't make me do more calls doing what I would do anyway. Like I love doing this stuff. I'm here for you on a Sunday. I love it, right? It's fun. So infinitely scalable, doing what you love to do anyway, minimal input of time, right? And then writing this, I have a framework on how to get this done. So the idea of like writing and mailing a newsletter to people might be like, oh my gosh, that sounds terrible. You mean to tell me you sit down and you actually write all of this stuff out? No, I don't. What I do is I carry this around with me everywhere, right? This is my notebook. It's got all my ideas in it. And every day, because all I think about is this business and marketing and how to better serve my customers, I'm getting ideas every day. When it comes time to write the newsletter, I go through my notes and I write a list of all the cool ideas I want to share with them. And then I dictate, I do one of 2 things, or one of 3 things really. Sometimes I'll build a webinar just with each idea on a slide and I'll record it. And I'll send that recording and have it transcribed and edit it. That's method number 1. Method number 2 is I will dictate straight into my computer using the Apple Dictate thing, which is free on a Mac. And number 3 that I'll do is I will take my phone and I'll record audio notes while I literally pace around in this lounge room I have at my house. I'll pace around this big conference table and I'll just talk about each point, and then I'll send that, get it transcribed, and get it edited. So this is minimal time as well. Now, minimal time physically creating it, thinking about creating it 24/7, right? People say, how long does it take you to write your newsletter? I say, well, it takes me 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. That's when I'm thinking about it. But never from a place of like, oh God, I got to write the newsletter. Like, oh, this is cool. I want to share this with everybody because this is awesome. I got to make a note so I don't forget that. That type of framework, right? So the benefit of this, infinitely scalable, right? Another benefit, not that expensive, not really that hard to sell because you're the right person. You're like, whatever, $397 a month, who cares? Right? I mean, seriously, think about it. $397. Okay, for a person with a business, $397 is going to come back to them every month anyway because they're always getting new customers, they're always selling stuff. It's not like it's going to go away. And if they deploy my stuff, then they should see a positive ROI. And once they do it one time, I got them, right? So it's very, very easy to sell. Third reason it's great is because it's so valuable to other people. I'm really able to help a lot of people, and you're probably really passionate about what you do as well. You really want to help so many people. Well, this is a great way to really, really help people, right? Oh, and also about these things, I never print or ship them. We outsource all of that, right? So I actually never physically handle a piece of these. We just have these in the office because when we get like bad addresses or whatever, they bounce back to us and we get them, but never see them, okay? So that is the upscale continuity model. Now, what I want to do now is show you the final model for this, all right? So I'm going to need to go to the computer. So the next model right here, and this is awesome, is Mastermind. So this is the next thing that you can sell as a 10x revenue multiplier. And cool thing about Masterminds is that really they're very familiar to people. So what you need in order to do one is really kind of a minimal amount of supplies. You have to have a place to hold your meetings. All right, and I do them sometimes at my house. I'll have 6 people come to the house for 2 days for $18,000. No problem. That's awesome. I do have a pretty big house, though. A bridge line, which is optional. So sometimes you might want to, between meetings, hold like group calls for members of your mastermind. I don't know many people that do that, but you might want to do it. You could have a private Facebook group for your mastermind folks. That's optional as well. I don't really do it for any of mine. And then you could have a members-only email address where you actually give your members your personal email address. So the people that come to my house, they can email me anytime. Half of them, I think all of them actually might have my phone number. No one ever really calls me, but if they did, I wouldn't mind because they're cool, right? So it's not a big deal. And that's really kind of it, right? Masterminds are really about the meetings. They're about these in-person meetings. So let's talk about them. There are multiple ways, there's multiple types of masterminds that you can hold. So the first one is called facilitated, and that's where you're basically the facilitator. The second is called curriculum-based. That's where you're actually up there teaching stuff. So let's talk about member-driven, right? This is the facilitated kind. This is the most common kind, and this requires really the least amount of actual work on your part. And it's the most popular kind for a reason, because I think people really enjoy this the most. So what this means is you're really sort of overseeing the meeting and guiding it, but the members themselves typically provide the majority of the content. And you break it up usually in 2 days, right? So each meeting is typically 2 days. Some people do 4 meetings a year. Some do 3. I think 3 is better than 4 because it becomes a burden for members to have to travel 4 times a year. It starts to become not fun for them. So usually what you're going to do is you're the facilitator, right? So you're leading the group, and on day number 1, you do an introduction. You're like, all right, everybody, welcome to day number 1, of this meeting. And good to see all of y'all. And here's something I want to share with you before we begin. You do like a 45-minute presentation on something cool, right? Kind of get it all warmed up. Or if this is like the second or third meeting that you've done for your group, you can give a recap of the last meeting. You can say, all right, so according to my notes, here's what we did in the last meeting. And Jim, you said you were going to do this. And Bob, you said you were going to do this. And Ann, you said you were going to do this. And, I remember Jim shared this. It was really cool. And Ann shared this, and it was really cool. And you kind of do that for about 45 minutes, right? And so then you really turn it over to the group, and you have 2 areas of focus, and 1 area of focus is dedicated to each day. So day number 1 is where you focus on what's working. So basically what you do is you give every member 10 minutes or so to present what's working for them, right? So you say, okay, Jim, I hope you're ready. You got 10 minutes. I want to know the coolest stuff that's been working the best for you since we last met. Right? So Jim's like, all right, dude, here's what's working really, really good for me. And by the way, people love doing this because it gives them significance and it gives them the ability to contribute. And both of those are very powerful human drivers of emotion, right? So what we do after that is now you take 10 more minutes and the other members brainstorm on how to make it better. So they brainstorm on how to +1 that. And the other members really like this for 2 reasons. Number 1, you can swipe what's working for Jim and use it in your business, right? You're like, sweet, Jim, damn, that's working, that's great. Okay, so let me get it straight. You do this and then you do that. Okay, so I wonder how I could try that. Awesome. So that's one way it's beneficial to everybody else. Another way it's beneficial to everybody else is it makes their brains work. And they come up with ways to make it even better. They're like, dude, Jim, you could try doing this, or you could try texting them after they show up, or whatever, right? So then you give them 10 minutes to do that. So if you have 15 members, just 15 members in your group, that process by itself is actually 5 hours, right? Now you add in your 45 minutes and that's close to 6 hours. You add in an hour for lunch, now you got dang near 7 hours. You add in a couple breaks and you've taken all day, right? So that's your whole day. So running a mastermind seems very, very intimidating, but a member-driven, facilitated mastermind, not that intimidating at all. And it's actually very, very valuable to people. Now, you factor, like I just said, you factor in your breaks and stuff. It's a full day. So on day number 2, you do the same thing. Right? You introduce, you're like, all right, everybody, welcome. It was so good. It was so much fun yesterday. Hope you all had a good night. If you want to take them to dinner that night, you can. I do sometimes. Sometimes we'll have people over to the house. Our last meeting, I had three clients came over to the house, and we were there for quite some time. And I have significantly less Bordeaux and Napa wine than I did prior to their coming over. I'm looking at you, Lawrence. I'm looking at you, Tammy. Mal Emery, you didn't drink as much as I thought you would. But you still did a pretty good job. But it was a good time, right? So you do whatever you want to do. I mean, the point is, it's a group of people. You all like each other. You're all having a good time. Okay, so anyway, you do the introduction again. Hey, welcome to day number 2. And you say, all right, so I'm really curious, what was the biggest thing you got out of yesterday, Jim? What are you going to implement? So that in and of itself is going to take a little bit, all right? And then your next thing is focused on the big challenges. So on day number 1, you led with what's working. On day number 2, you focus on, all right, man, here's what I really need help with. And you follow the same format. So every member presents, all right, here's what our big challenge is. Here's what we're trying, and here's where we're kind of stumbling. Here's where the bottleneck is, and we really need some help with that. So each member does that for about 10 minutes, right? And then, blam, exact same thing. Every member now brainstorms on how to fix that for 10 minutes. I don't mean they brainstorm it on individually. You take about 10 minutes for each member to be like, all right, dude, here's what it is. And if it's more than 10 minutes, it's fine, right? You're not militant about the time. But if you do the same thing, it's the exact same numbers. You got 15 members, that takes 5 hours to do all of that, right? Which is awesome, okay? So that in and of itself is really good. You factor in your breaks and your lunch, you filled up an entire day. So that is your member-driven method, right? When you're basically being the facilitator. So the next style is a little different. Oh, and by the way, examples of member-driven would be just about every mastermind out there, right? Like Joe Polish's 25K, largely member-driven. My first ones were all member-driven. I mean, really almost every mastermind out there is going to follow that particular framework. The next one here is curriculum-driven. And this is really where you're pretty much teaching almost the entire time. And each meeting has a theme, right? So if you have 3 meetings a year, your first meeting might be on generating leads. Your second meeting might be on closing. Your first meeting might be on building and hiring a team or whatever, right? What you want to do is you want to break each day into 4 90-minute chunks. And during each 90-minute chunks, you're basically giving an hour-long presentation, and then you're giving time for Q&A, right? So you got, basically, it's almost like you're doing 4 webinars each day, right? So it's a lot of work on your part, and that's why a lot of people don't do it, right? So if you're like really, really into teaching and you want to sort of take the stage the entire time, that's the way you run that. If you do all of that, that's 6 hours total right there, right? So even though it doesn't sound like much, say it's just 4 90-minute presentations with 30 minutes of Q&A and an exercise at the end of each one, that's actually 6 hours. So that's a pretty solid day. You factor in your lunch and your breaks and stuff, you've taken up the entire day, right? So that's another way to do it. The third type of mastermind, oh, by the way, that type of curriculum-driven, a great example of that is Dan Sullivan, right? So I'm sure some of you guys have heard of Strategic Coach out of Canada. It's not necessarily marketing oriented at all. It's more team building and growth and building a self-sustaining company and a self-growing company. It's brilliant, brilliant stuff. I can't speak highly enough about Dan Sullivan, but that's what they do, right? It's 4 meetings a year. Each meeting is 1 day, okay? And he gets up there and he leads this curriculum, and then you're gone. 20 or 25,000 bucks. You got to fly all the way to Canada, full. Awesome. I think they're a $30 million company, and good for them. They deserve it, right? So it's a very doable model. The next one now is a large group model, okay? So all the way up until this year, I co-facilitated a big mastermind called War Room. I did that with Digital Marketer, and the reason I stopped doing it is just because I got tired of traveling and going to meetings, and because my continuity program takes up most of my attention, and I really prefer to focus on that. But I did enjoy it. My time with War Room, it was great, and I'm still very close with all of those fellas and those members. So War Room is $25,000 a year, and we had about 70 members. I think there's even more now. I think they grew. Once I left, they're like, okay, he's gone, we'll join. Right? So I think they were closer to 100 members now. And the way we ran it and kept everyone happy, and the way they still run it is like this, right? So if you want a huge mastermind, this is what you want to do. The group itself, War Room, was led by 5 people. Now it's 4. It was originally, well, not originally, but during the time I was with them, it was me. It was Ryan Dice, it was Perry Belcher, it was Richard Lindner, who's awesome, and Roland Frazier. So there's 5 of us, right, which is awesome. So you have a big group of people, but you got 5 people managing the group. On day 1, we'd all get up there, all 5 of us, and we'd be on stage, and we would set the agenda. We'd welcome new members and stuff. We'd say, all right, guys, here's what we're going to be talking about this time. It's real good to see you. We'd joke around with some members, you know, because everyone gets to be really good friends in mastermind groups and stuff, and it's awesome. Very, very casual. So we'd set the agenda, and then each one of us knuckleheads, over the course of 2 days, we would give 2 90-minute presentations. All right, and that would be it. So we'd give our 2 90-minute presentations. Usually that's going to be like an hour with some Q&A. Then we'd have lunch, right? And then we would do mini presentations throughout the day, broken up by what's called topic tables, right? So what that looks like is we'd say, okay, if you want to talk about copy and offer structure, then we're going to spend the next, you need to spend the next hour over there at Perry's table, right? And Perry Belcher, rather. It'd be cool. We have Perry Marshall too. That'd be awesome. He's great. People be over there at Perry's table. If you want to talk about deal structure and mergers and acquisitions, go over there and talk at Roland's table. He's going to be talking about that and answering questions. You know, if you want to talk about general shenanigans, right, then go over there to Frank's table. He's going to be talking about that. And if you want to talk about hiring and operations, go to Richard's table. So all 70 members would be at different tables during these little breaks, and they would just get their questions answered individually by one of the facilitators of the group. So even though it was a very large group, we kind of killed 2 birds with 1 stone. We would do curriculum-led teaching, where each member would give this good presentation. Hey, here's what's working and really cool stuff. And then we would give those members the individual attention they wanted through those topic tables, which was awesome. And it worked really, really well. And I'll tell you, it was Ryan Dice's idea. Pretty sure it was Ryan's idea. And he's a smart fellow, that Ryan Dice. So good for him for coming up with that. So the mini presentation and topic table, just to kind of go a little bit deeper on that. Mini presentation's like a 30-minute presentation showing something cool, and a topic table is like a 30-minute period or whatever, where each group leader has a designated table. Members can come to his table and ask questions about anything, and that's about 30 minutes. So we would do 4 rounds of that, right? And then on the second day, we do the same thing. We'd open up with a 90-minute presentation. We take a 15-minute break, followed by a mini presentation and topic table. Then there's lunch. Then another 90-minute presentation by one of us knuckleheads. Then a break. And then we do another mini presentation and topic table. So that's how we would really lay it out, kind of in that order. And then at the end, because it was a big group, we'd have this contest, and we'd say, okay, who's got the best idea? And members would come up, whoever wanted to enter the contest, and they'd say, hey, here's this really cool thing I discovered. And they would explain it for about 5 minutes, and I'd write out there what they explained. And then the entire group would vote on who won, and whoever won would win like really cool prizes, like drones and iPads and computers and whatever, really, really cool stuff. Cases of wine, it was kind of a fun-loving group. So here's the big thing about masterminds. Best thing you want to do is, if you're doing a mastermind, which is, again, it's just so lucrative and it's so simple to do. It's very simple to sell because everybody understands the concept. Best thing you want to do is you want to choose one hotel for your meetings, if you're going to do meetings, and you just want to get that hotel dialed in. A lot of folks say, hey, we're going to do one meeting in Tahiti, or we're going to do one in Hawaii and all that. I found that people don't really care about that stuff. It's inconvenient. Just have one centralized location, do your meetings at the same place, get that dialed in so it becomes second nature to you. The next thing you need to understand is you don't need to be putting so much pressure on yourself. Your mastermind members do not like you as much as you think. So when I started having masterminds, I was like, man, I have got to do everything in the world for these guys. I got to make myself available to them constantly, and it would freak me out because I was always worried that, what if I'm not giving them enough value, right? What if I'm not helping them enough? And that really wasn't very fun at all mentally for me. And what I learned is, they really enjoyed the help I gave them, but they were getting just as much value from each other as they were from me, which was really cool, right? So it allowed me finally to be like, okay, cool, let's have more member-driven facilitation because they actually enjoyed that better. They didn't want to listen to me rambling on all day. And what ultimately that means is a lot of the value comes from people networking together and getting out of their business. They're not working in their business and they're able to work on their business, and generally just having fun and being around like-minded people. So the big thing I want to tell you about any mastermind model that you choose to do is to make it fun. And don't freak yourself out. Don't put all this pressure on yourself. Just understand that you're going to do a good job. People are going to be happy. And if you just make it fun and you really genuinely care about them, you really can't go wrong. Okay, so those are your offers. All right, so those are kind of the offers that really work well as your 10x multipliers. You can go a book funnel to a Slack adjuster to one of these. You could go a book straight to one of these. Right? It doesn't matter. So now let me show you some campaigns that we've run in the past that worked really, really well. Okay? So here we go. Actually, let me take a little bit of water here. Yeah, we're doing pretty good on time. We're probably going to go about 15 minutes over on this one, but I think we'll survive it. Don't you? I think we'll be okay. All right, hang on. Oh, nice. You didn't have to watch me drink that water. Perfect. So let's talk about how to attract and convert these folks. So here's the big picture process. All right? What we want to do, we want to give our prospects and leads some valuable content to consume. And then we want to give them an offer for some type of a consultative close. And then we want to have them apply to talk to you. And then we close them on the phone or by email. So that's really the universal process for every single model except upscale continuity. Upscale continuity is not very expensive, so they can buy it online, right? But if you're selling a $25,000 mastermind or a $10,000 thing or a $3,000 or $4,000 a month coaching thing or whatever, usually you're going to have to talk to them. So we have a process that really generates someone who self-qualifies, knows how much everything is. They've asked to talk to you, and then you can talk to them, close them on the phone or by email. And there's really 3 types of people that we can market to. The first category of person is called lowest hanging fruit, right? Or low hanging fruit. And here's the deal. Almost everybody has a warm audience that would be much easier to sell to than other segments of your market, right? So for example, if you have a book funnel, guess who your lowest hanging fruit is? People who bought your book, okay? Because they already like you, right? And they like the book. And they're buyers. So that's definitely low-hanging fruit. If you have Facebook fans, that's low-hanging fruit. If you have an email subscriber list, that's low-hanging fruit. If you have people that are in the same group as you, that's low-hanging fruit, right? You get it. So that could be your Facebook fans and friends, your existing list, etc. Basically, these are people who, to a degree, already want what you have, and they just need to be presented with the right offer. So I'll show you our process for it. So number one, you can run an ad straight to these people stating an offer for the service, right? I'll show you an example in a minute. And then they see the ad and they opt in there's an opt-in page, rather, that has a description of the service. Like, all right, here's, how it works. If you're interested, opt in. And then you email them with info like, okay, here's the details on it, and click here if you want to either talk to me or if you want to give me some money, right? And then you either close them on the phone or by email. Super simple, okay? So here's an actual campaign that we ran. We used to do professional services where we would install campaigns and stuff for people. We don't do it anymore because, like I said, 100% of our focus since last August has been completely on our membership, and that's never going to change at this stage. So we don't do this business type anymore, but only because I really have just fallen so much in love with upscale continuity, and I really enjoy working with our members. But when we were doing professional services, this is what we did, okay? So to low-hanging fruit, to people who already knew me, I would say, hey, would you like to work directly with me in person? This is an ad, by the way, so I paid for this. I have a few remaining seats for a very small hands-on experience where you can get specific advice from me about your individual business. It's going to be in San Diego. And if they click this little see more button, there is some more propaganda on it. And if they clicked it, here's the numbers, by the way. We spent about $5,000 on the ad, paid $2.41 a click. If they clicked it, they would go to this opt-in page, okay? And this is like a really simple opt-in page. And the opt-in page is describing what the offer is, right? So it's not a blind opt-in page. You're not opting in for a free report. They already know me. They already know what kind of the offer is. They're just opting in to get more information. And we got 2,000 clicks, and we got about 309 people opt in, which isn't a really good opt-in rate, but it's not supposed to be. Because what this letter right here really says is, I'm having this thing, it's going to cost some money. If you want to buy it, give me your info. So of course we're not going to have a ton of people opt in, right? Because obviously they're opting in for a sales process. And you can see how I worded it, right? I'm going to have my tech team there. I'm giving you 7 campaigns. You have nothing left to do. If you're interested in learning more about it, enter your name and email address to get started. So it's clearly, they're not opting in for a free report. They're not opting in for a lead magnet. They know that they're opting in to find out more information about buying something. Okay, so now how do we turn those people into buyers? Well, here's the deal. Okay, so we got 309 people opted in. We went bonkers, okay, really went crazy, got super innovative, and we sent them an email. All right, and the email basically follows this framework. It explains the offer, explains the benefits, gives the price, and then tells them what to do next. Okay, and in this case, the email copy was, hey, if you want me to save you a seat and get all these bonuses, let me know. And I'll take care of it for you. Just reply to this email, let me know you're in. And then, here's some more calls to action, okay? So when they replied, we would either email them an order link right there on the spot, right? Or we would set up a time to answer questions personally. So they would either, some of them just knew me so well, they're like, yeah, dude, that sounds great, send me a link. Other ones would be like, yeah, I got some questions, when can we talk? And the final numbers for that campaign, here they are. We spent 5,100 smackers, all right, running that ad. Here's the stats. Everyone got the email. Our total sales was $39,080. Pretty good return on investment, right? But of course that was going to work because this low-hanging fruit, they already know me. That's why we do things like build book funnels, right? You build a big audience of people who already know and like you. It's easier to sell to those people, okay? So that's like we rigged the game in that case, right? I mean, not through shenanigans, but it's pretty easy to be successful when you're selling to people who already like you and want what you have. So we got all of those sales, by the way, from a list of only 309 people. Those are the people who opted in to find out more about the offers. That's pretty good, right? I'll take it. About $100 an opt-in, I think, if you figure the math on that. So our net profit after the ad spend was $33,000 and change, almost $34,000. So that's pretty sweet, right? So for every dollar we put in, we got over $6 back. And you'll notice throughout our entire time we spent together during this training, I keep focusing on that. We really need to shift from products and promos to that billionaire mentality where we build assets that make money, right? That we put $1 into a machine, we get more dollars out. You're going to hear me talk about that forever, okay? I'm never going to stop trying to help you do that better because I really believe that is the best way to build wealth in the world. We can control it. You go buy stocks, you can't control that, right? You buy a house, kind of you can if you buy a real estate investment or whatever, but you can't control the real estate market. We can control our ads, baby. We can change a headline. We can add more follow-up sequences. We can mess around with the ad copy to get cheaper clicks. We control that whole thing. We're the only investment group where we have the ability to rig the game totally legally in our favor by controlling what people see, right? Best thing in the world, okay? So we did all of that within 30 days. And plus I had a new list of 309 people that had opted in, so some of them will buy some stuff later. So now the question is, all right, dude, well, that makes sense, but what if you have no low-hanging fruit? By the way, Sass, would you text Tyler, or if he's here, and tell him that we're going to need to do the thingy in like 15 minutes or so, 10 to 15 minutes, the thingy. Okay, so what if you have no low-hanging fruit, right? Like, what if nobody knows you? Well, then there's something called the mid-level campaign, and this is geared towards a group of people that we call mid-level prospects, right? So this is a group of people who might not know you personally, okay, but they do have an immediate desire for the solution that you can provide. So a mid-level campaign is used to really do three things. Number one, it explains your solution, right? We're not making an offer yet. Really, we're explaining a solution. Then we're explaining the price and benefits of what you got. And the third thing we do is we don't try to get them to buy something for you. Instead, we try to get them to talk to you, fully knowing what the thing is, right? So really the purpose of this is to generate a qualified, interested prospect who knows the price, okay? It's not to sell them. Is to have them come into you going, all right, I'm interested, I know the price, tell me more. That's what this campaign does, okay? So here's the process. You run an ad offering to help them for free, a demonstration of results. That could be a webinar, it could be a conversation or whatever. Then you send them to a brutally honest opt-in page that says, hey, I'm offering to give you this free stuff because I think you might want to buy some other stuff, and that's the deal. Then you send them a video sales letter, or it could be a webinar or whatever, with details of what that free experience is going to be like and the price of the main thing you're going to sell them if they in fact decide to give you some money. And then the prospect applies to talk to you. That's what I mean by demonstration. I refer to it as a demonstration of power, meaning your ability to help them, right? So probably better if I actually give you some real examples, okay? So here's mine, all right? So I ran a PPC ad. This is for people who didn't necessarily know me, right? And I'm offering some free help. I'm saying, would you like me to design a custom marketing campaign for you for free? And then you should click here, right? And when they clicked there, here's the numbers, right? I got 2,500 clicks, spent about $7,000. Now I'm spending more because these people don't know me, right? They're marketing oriented people, but they're not necessarily people that like know who I am or give a damn, okay? So when they click, here's all the numbers again, I send them to this brutally honest opt-in page. And this opt-in page is basically saying, yep, we really will give you a complete blueprint for a custom campaign, and the reason we're doing it is because some of the people who do this become our clients, right? That's why we do it. And if you want to become our client, that's great. So fill out your name and email if you're interested in that, okay? So we got 589 people who opted in, okay? So they opt in. All right, notice the transparency here, by the way. So this is taken from that little screenshot. I'm saying, look, there's no charge for this, there's no catch, which makes you wonder, hey, why would you do this for me? Well, in the interest of full transparency, this is how I get clients. A good percentage of people we do this for actually end up asking us to build all their marketing for them, and when that happens, we do it. So that's my hidden motivation for doing this. So there's like no shenanigans, all right? Shenanigans never work, okay? So the next thing we do after they opt in is there's a video sales letter for that call itself, right? So spend all this money, 589 people opted in, they saw this video sales letter. And this is a video sales letter. I'm not saying give me any money. I'm saying, all right, cool, thanks so much for your interest in having us build this campaign. This is what a campaign looks like. Here's what we're going to do for you when we build the campaign blueprint for you. You're really going to enjoy it, right? Here's who it's for, here's who it's not for. Basically what this is a filter. It's more of a filter than a sales letter, because I'm saying here's the benefits, but we're not going to do this for you unless you meet our perfect criteria. You got to have a list, you got to be selling something, you can't be a scumbag, etc. So of the 589 people who saw this, 28 people applied to actually have that conversation with us. This also gave the price, by the way. This also said, hey, if you become a client, here's how much it's going to cost, right? That's why we only had 28 people apply, and that's fine. Because I don't want to talk to more than 28 people. In fact, we didn't talk to all 28 of these people. They applied and we didn't accept all of them because some of them didn't have a business or whatever, right? They weren't the right fit for us. So when they applied, we would review what they said in their application, make sure we could actually help them. And then if we assumed we could help them, then we'd set up a go-to meeting. We would actually do what we promised. We'd give them a blueprinting session. All right, okay, according to your business, here's the type of campaign you might want to have. Here's how that works. Here's a process map for it. Enjoy, right? So here, and then of course, our big closing process would be, hey, do you want us to help you build that? And some would say yes, some would say no. So here are the final numbers for that month. We spent $7,400 driving 2,500 people there. Of those 2,500 people, 589 of them opted in. They were all sent this video sales letter, which caused them to apply for a conversation, right? Knowing the price, 28 applied, our total sales of $24,000. Okay, so pretty good. We generated a list of 589 people. We sold $24,000 worth of stuff from that little list. Net profit after ads was $16,000. Not as impressive as low-hanging fruit. But of course it's not going to be. With low-hanging fruit, we put in $1, we got $6 out. With mid-level, they didn't necessarily know me. We put $1 in, we got $320 back. Still a 300% return. Pretty freaking good, right? I'll take it all day, every day. That all happened within 30 days. And plus, I built a list of 589 people who were really interested in my kind of stuff. So that's pretty sweet. I got paid to build a list. So now the question is, okay, what if you're going completely cold to teetotal strangers, right? So this, a cold campaign, is for people who could potentially benefit from whatever it is you got, but they don't necessarily know that such a solution exists, nor do they necessarily know you. So this is like ice cold, right? This is the big blue ocean right here. You get good at this, and I believe you're set for life, right? So this is a good one. So they don't even know that they need or want it. So the cold campaign process is a little different, right? This is where you can either lead with a traditional lead magnet or your book, right? A book funnel also leads perfectly into this. Then you send them a positioning sequence. That's some value videos. These value videos demonstrate your ability. It educates them. It motivates them. Then it offers to help them. That's offering that conversation or that demonstration. Then the prospect applies, and then we have the same process, right? Then you close them. So let me show you the real thing, right? Because a bunch of blue squares aren't going to do you that much good. So in our case, I went to just complete and total strangers, and instead of saying, hey, you want us to build you a marketing campaign for free? They might not even know they needed this type of marketing campaign. So I ran this ad, and this is a blind ad, right? This is just opting in for a video called The Future of Internet Marketing. And there's really nothing telling about what this video covers. So in this case, we paid $213 a click. We got 2,600 clicks. We spent $5,800. And the opt-in page, man, this is ridiculous. We got 1,700 people opting in, right? Which is great. Now, the reason we had so many people opt in is because it was a blind opt-in page. It's like, hey, get some free stuff, right? The future of internet marketing. I mean, that's very compelling, right? So 1,713 people opted in. There's a 61.93% opt-in rate from complete strangers. Pretty good. Right? Pretty good. I'll take it. So when they opt in, now my job is to demonstrate value, right? When, if you really look at this, I'm really doing exactly what I taught you on Friday, which is I take that escape and arrival framework I went through, and I'm just showing them, here's the process you need to go through to get to where you want to go. So I paid $213 a click. We got 2,600 and change clicks, spent about $5,800. 1,713 people opted in, and they saw this big-ass video. And this is meant to do one thing, which is to act as a huge filter while providing massive value, right? So they didn't even see the offer or have the ability to apply until they'd watched this for 58 minutes. Could you imagine? I mean, you've got to be some sort of masochist to want to watch me for 58 minutes, right? What this video did is it demonstrated my capability. It revealed possibilities that they didn't know existed, and it established authority through further educating them. All right? But I also sent them follow-up sequences. So if they didn't apply from video number 1, I sent them follow-up sequences in the form of more videos, and each video made that offer to have them apply. So out of 1,700 complete strangers, I only got 11 applications. Now, the reason why is because every one of these videos said, hey, this thing's about 15 grand. apply if you're interested. So of course I'm only going to get 11 applications. I'm trying to sell something for 15,000 freaking dollars, right? I'm not supposed to get a ton of applications. I don't want to get a ton of applications. I want to provide value and filter here. That's what you want to do. When they applied, we did the same thing, right? Reviewed the campaign, reviewed their application, made sure they were qualified, set up a meeting to talk to them, and then tried to make the sale. We spent 5,800 smackers, sent them to this. They got this follow-up sequence, right? And then we got 11 applications. Our total sales were $24,000. So from a list of 1,713 cold, complete strangers, ice cold people, right? Our net profit after ads, $18,119. We put $1 in, we got $4.08 back. We actually made a little better from the cold people than the mid-level. Probably over time that would even out, though. That might have been a little bit of a fluke there. Did that in a 30-day period. Plus, some of those 1,713 people will buy later. So here's the bottom line, right? Our total ad spend across those 3 campaigns was $18,473. Our total clicks, 7,000 and change. We built a list of 2,600 people. Our total sales, where'd you go? $87,000. $87,080. Our net profit after ads, of course this is before overhead and stuff, was $68,606. Obviously, regardless of which one of these models you use, big ticket sales are awesome. So let's get started with the subconscious selling. So everything that we do, and what I want to try to do for you here is show you how I put together the offers for what we just did. So your first step is to know your outcome. So for me and for you, for everything we do, you're telling me that when I'm at the paper, I need to look at the one that says paper cam, is what you're trying to tell you? So why would it say paper cam on the camera? I told you guys, I keep looking at the wrong damn camera. There's 4 of them. He literally has to have the one that says paper cam on there, and I still end up looking at the wrong camera. All right, so where was I? So before you ever start any endeavor, you have to know your mission, right? So your mission, first and foremost, okay, before selling, your mission needs to be to wrap, good Lord, that's loud. Metaphorically, obviously, wrap a blanket of goodwill around your audience. And this is whether you're doing this in an online video series, whether you're doing it over the course of kept looking at the wrong damn camera again, sorry. Whether you're doing it over the course of a couple of days like we've been doing as I'm filming this product, that whether you're doing it in a webinar, it doesn't matter. What you want to do is you want to metaphorically just wrap a blanket of goodwill around your audience. If people like you, you can sell, right? If you do a good job of getting people to bond with you, you can sell. And there's all kinds of ways that you can do that involve trickery and stuff. Probably kind of hard, a little bit lame. I think the best possible way that you can create this goodwill and this trust is to do exactly what I showed you on day 1, and that is to provide results in advance, right? Dang it, I just can't help but draw smiley faces. This dude's supposed to be a frowny face. This guy's supposed to be a smiley face. So when I set out to create this training, my first mission was to create this blanket of goodwill and, of course, to create a really good training that we could use as an asset. But, of course, I also simultaneously wanted to sell stuff because I'm a marketer and we're supposed to sell stuff. That's our job. That's your job. You should always be selling stuff, assuming you're wrapping people in the blanket of goodwill. So when I set out to do this, first thing I did was I was like, okay, the topic of this thing is Book Funnel Blueprint. Therefore, the folks that I'm talking to basically have no asset or under-deployed assets. In this case, the asset is defined as a book funnel, right? And I want to get them to a point of stress-free abundance, right? Stress-free abundance. That's what I always try to shoot for. I always want to help people get to that stage. Stress-free abundance means you are in a passive or semi-passive way generating more than you need to live the lifestyle you want, right? It used to be hey, let's all get planes and stuff, and that's cool if that's what you want. But I think most people just want to make more than they need to cover a really awesome lifestyle, and they want to do it in a way that's stress-free. So we do that as passively, as semi-passively as possible. So the first thing that I did before even talking to you was I said, well, what are the milestones we got to take to get there? First thing was make the shift, right? We talked about that billionaire mentality, which is, look, it's never about promos and products. It's about assets, right? So that was my first mission. I was like, if I can get someone to think that way, then they can embrace the idea of understanding what a book funnel really does, the purpose of the book funnel, right? And we learned that the book funnel, while you want this to be really, really awesome, what the book funnel really is supposed to do is to bring in buyers, right, that can actually get you the big thing. So I had to get you to understand that concept, and then I had to show you the mechanics of the book funnel, right? But now if you understand what a book funnel does and you understand the mechanics of the book funnel, the next logical question is going to be, all right, dude, well, I understand that I need to sell other stuff besides the book. What do I sell, right? So in this case, I needed to show you what products to sell, what the categories are, and how to create them, right? And what they are and how to sell them and everything. So that was our next milestone I had to show you. And then the next thing was, well, how do I help you take it one step further, which is the 10 times cash flow multiplier, right? Which is, of course, was going to be the bigger ticket stuff that I just shared with you, right? So that was the next milestone. And finally, I had to show you how to run those types of campaigns that got that kind of stuff, right? So these are the milestones that I knew I had to take you through, right? So this part, all of this part right here, I was able to teach that while simultaneously creating the book funnel blueprint product, right? Which was great. That stands for book funnel blueprint. So during that training, what we were able to do was show you how to make that shift, show you the real purpose of a book funnel, show you how to get your book created, right? Show you what it does, and then help you get those products, right? And then I was able to show you this. So all of this stuff is in the book funnel blueprint, by the way, which when you join the Kern Inner Circle, incidentally, I think I forgot to mention this because I'm crazy, naturally you get the finished product of the book funnel blueprint. So that's yours. I don't know if I ever will actually sell this. I said I would probably plan to sell it for $9.97, but I keep thinking I'm going to sell stuff, and then I just never do because I give it to my members, and really everything is focused on the members. I never really feel like going out and trying to sell it. So as a member, you get the finished product. I don't really know if it'll ever be released to the public. I have a tendency to not release stuff because I focus on members, right? So this is our first mission. We have to create the goodwill, all right? And then we have to create the goodwill by giving these results in advance. And man, if you do this well enough, your sales pitch can pretty much be like, okay, if you want more of this kind of stuff, I have it, and you should buy it, right? So there's that, okay? But we need to take that one step further, okay? And we need to understand the way people are wired. So if we look at the way people are wired, okay, at the core of our decisions is always going to be self-interest. Okay? The core of our decisions is always going to be self-interest, and the making of those decisions is almost always going to be dictated by emotion. Okay? So when we are creating sales pitches, and we're creating offers, and we're building like big campaigns, right? What we really need to do is we need to constantly remind them of how our stuff can help their self-interest, and we need to escalate that by triggering emotions, right? So how do we do that? Okay, well, we do it in a multitude of ways, all right? So, man, I hope I don't run out of paper. Oh, we have more of these. Okay, never mind. I don't care because we got more. But wait, there's more. Okay, so how do we do that, right? Well, the most important thing that we can do, well, gosh, there's a lot of important things to do, but one of like the really, 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 really powerful things that we can do is to instill two things. I talked to you about this on Friday, by the way. This is what a book actually does to people. Do you remember? You remember what a book is supposed to give people? We go from a buyer in need to a buyer with what? Actually, let's give something away. Let's see if anyone was paying attention on Friday. We have any more of these campaign copies? All right, so here's what I'm going to do for you. The first person that answers this question correctly, if no one gets it, that's okay. First person to answer this correctly, I'm going to mail this to you. This is a copy of physically printed all of my campaigns, all of my emails from all of my campaign structures. Only people to ever get this have given us $15,000. We have a couple of them here in the office for whatever mysterious reason, okay? So whoever Tyler picks, first person that Tyler picks here, wins that. We'll mail it to you, FedEx it to you. I'll sign it to you as well. Okay, so what is the purpose of a book, right? The book identifies, by selling the book, you identify a buyer in need. By consuming the book, that buyer becomes a buyer with what? I'll give you a hint, right? This is where I drew it on the paper on Friday. Anyone remember? If no one remembers, you guys are doing me the greatest service ever. Anyone get it? We have a winner, ladies and gentlemen. What was the name? Mr. Castro. Aramis. Aramis or Aramis Castro. You, sir, are correct. Confidence and capabilities, right? So first thing we have to do is give someone, now we know that we're all driven by self-interest, right? So when we're selling something, typically in our world, right? Because I know most of you guys sell like information and stuff like that, just like me. So we're all helping people achieve what they want, right? But the biggest enemy that we have isn't that they don't believe us. It's not that they don't think our stuff works. It's that they don't believe in themselves, okay? Self-doubt is your number one killer, assuming you're doing everything else right. Now, they might not believe you, but if you just do what I just showed you, which is deliver that results in advance, they're going to believe you because you've already helped them, right? We can say how good we are, we can get others to say how good we are, or we can demonstrate it, right? There's only 3 ways we can influence people. Obviously, demonstration is the most powerful. But we can demonstrate, but they can still say, I just don't think I can do it. You know, I tried and I failed before, right? Well, we all have. So we have to make sure that we instill confidence and capabilities, right? So doing the results in advance helps us with that. Now, the other thing that we can do that really creates a buying emotion is to compound self-interest by using 2 things. So I want you to notice what I did throughout this presentation, right? In the very first part of Book Funnel Blueprint, so I'll do our timeline here. This is Friday. This is Sunday, right? On Friday, I helped you make the shift to the billionaire mentality, right? So we did the shift. Then I gave you the outline of the Book Funnel Blueprint, all right? Showed you how that works, kind of walked you through, hey, here's what a book funnel really is. Showed you the truth about a book funnel. Showed you what you could actually sell with a book funnel. And a lot of you guys are like, holy crap, you can sell all this stuff with a book funnel? I had no idea. People were selling like financial services, like my man Matt Zagula, like Peter Goskew has 21 locations around the world from that one book he wrote a zillion years ago. Pain free, open your eyes to the possibilities of a book funnel, right? Then I showed you how to create the book on Friday. Right? So on Friday, we're building massive goodwill. So your trust is going up. You're like, it's pretty good. This guy's helping me. I'm getting some results in advance. I'm starting to feel confident and capable. That's awesome, right? We never want to lose that. Okay, so this is on Friday, right? I also showed you the 1-page webinar to show you how to create the book, right? So by Friday's days out, you know how to get your dang book made. Now on Saturday, okay, so now this is Saturday, I show you how to create sales materials, right? So I showed you how to create the sales copy. I gave you the framework for long-form sales copy, right? So it was like boom, boom, boom. You fill in the blanks, blam. You're using the assembly line process to create your sales copy. I gave you all those bullet points. Remember that? I gave you the $1 billion framework. So at this stage, you're like, sweet, I know how to create a book. I know how to sell my book and get people into my book funnel. I also know that a book funnel looks like this. You got your book, you got your funnel, and then you got your 10x multiplier, right? I got you here, but now you're thinking, thank you, what's next? But how do I create the products? So now, I also showed you how to create the products. And now we made our first offer, right? And this is when I made the first offer for Info Business Blueprint, okay? Now we know this is a limited offer, right? Because here I am, I'm filming this as a product. I'm giving the product to everyone who takes me up on this offer. Ultimately, the offer is to get you to join the Kern Inner Circle. All right? So we've got self-interest. I'm helping you achieve what you want. I'm giving you the capabilities and the confidence. Now I've made the first offer because I've wrapped that blanket of goodwill around the audience. Okay? So now we come forward here to Sunday. All right? So now this is Sunday. On Sunday, what do? Well, the next logical thing is, okay, on Friday, I learned this part, right? I learned how to get the book done. On the beginning of Saturday, I learned how to sell the book. At the end of Saturday, I learned how to create the products that are sold here. Now on Sunday, today, we talked about the 10x multiplier, right? Here are these offers that really, here's how to offer it, here's how to fulfill it, here are the campaigns that will give you the 10x multipliers, right? So here you got 10x, right? So if we go back and we look at guys, no kidding. I'm not even kidding you right now. I almost tried to swipe. I was almost like swiping the paper like an iPad, okay? So if we look, boom, I got you right here over 3 days. I took you all the way through the results in advance thing, right here, right? And then I made another offer, okay? So what the next offer was now something that we're calling, all right, stacking the cool, okay? And this is critical, all right? If you do this, you will sell more stuff, period, all right? This is called stacking the cool. This comes from mass control. So what we did on Saturday, here's Sunday, the end, right? So this is the end of the promotion. Here's the beginning of the offer. So here's our timeline of making offers. We start, and it is first part of the offer is get Info Business Blueprint for free when you become a member of the Kern Inner Circle, right? And you know Info Business Blueprint is awesome. You know that it's a totally immersive course that you learn not only how to validate whether or not a market is good before you ever create a product using the crystal ball method. In week 1, we do that. Week number 2, we go through actually getting these products made. Week number 3, we go through the passive selling systems. You remember that? There was linear, there was cycling, there was ascending, there was descending. Week number 4, we build the only 4 web pages you need. Remember that? There's opt-in page, there's sales page, there's thank you page, and there's content delivery page. There's the only 4 that you need. Right? And then we tie it all together through automation, and then we get traffic. That's what that course does, right? So on Saturday, we made that offer. And then I stacked that offer. So you got this imagine this little line here is the desire of the prospect, okay? So I made that offer, and then I started stacking it. I said, you know what? By the way, I'll also give you alchemy, right? So now I've stacked it again. Now notice, I'm doing this sequentially, right? This is when the offer ends. What does this signify? Scarcity, right? When the offer ends, there's scarcity. So I am adding more incentive to buy as we get more scarce, okay? So it's very, very important. You always want to stack the cool. Scarcity is like an iron fist, right? It's like this offer's going to expire. Stacking the cool is like the velvet glove wrapped around the iron fist. You're being nice about it, right? You're presenting scarcity, but you're presenting it in a nice and exciting manner that really helps people, okay? So then fast forward to today, all right? We begin, and now I offer high-level fellowship, right? And I offer it because I teach you all of these business models, right? I show you, all right, here's how you could do consulting. Well, we outlined exactly, mechanically, how to do $1.2 million in consulting revenue 3 days a week, right? Like just showed you, here's exactly what you got to do, here's what you got to charge, here's how many clients you need, here's the hours, here's the whole thing, right? Then I showed you group coaching, okay? Then I showed you the masterminds, all right? And then I showed you the transformational class experience. And then I showed you upscale continuity, right? Which is what Kern Inner Circle is. It was my favorite business model of them all. Obviously, that's all we do, okay? And I showed you how to do that. In doing so, I'm moving you down the timeline of goodwill, right? Down that results in advance timeline, because what this did right here, as I was right before I made that offer, I brought you to, not the big bullseye, all right? Not the big bullseye, ladies and gentlemen, but here on the timeline, all right? Blam, right there. So with each offer, I've already brought you here. Info Business Blueprint, I brought you here to this part of the timeline. By the time I offered high-level fellowship, I brought you there on the timeline. Look how close you are to the stress-free abundance goal, right? So, and when I made high-level fellowship offer, what I do, I said, okay, well, first of all, here's what it does for you, right? And I said, okay, first of all, shows you how to find who is willing to actually pay you for this stuff, right? You don't want to be trying to, I always use the expression, we don't want to fish for whales with minnow bait, right? So it shows you, hey, who are the whales? And then, all right, how do we actually generate them? And then what do we do if they give us the money? How do you actually run all of these business models I gave you an overview of, right? Then I showed you the campaigns. I said, yeah, also in high-level fellowship, I teach you how to automate all of these campaigns. And then while I was teaching you this stuff, I was opening this loop, which was, all right, here's the process. We deliver this goodwill, then we talk to them, then we close them. In high-level fellowship, I show you exactly how to close them, right? So that's a 6-week immersive course. And I build the value of the course. I showed how it was sold for $6,400 for real. Actually, was sold for $6,400. No shenanigans. I said, boom, you can have it for free when you join Kern Inner Circle, right? So that's that offer. I built the goodwill. I moved you down the timeline before making the offer. Remember, if we don't have this, if we haven't wrapped people in the blanket of goodwill and genuinely helped them, chances of winning making the offer are going to fall flat. You have to resort to puffery and being loud and making bigger and bigger promises, right? All I had to do was just teach and say, here it is, and then give you more incentive to buy. So build the value for high-level fellowship only after delivering tremendous amount of value. And then what do we do again? I said, by the way, also, if you enroll today, you get, that's a you, the upscale continuity training as well, right? Showing you how to build a program like the Kern Inner Circle if you so choose, okay? So as we're moving towards the deadline here, the desire to enroll goes up, right? So most people would just be like, hey, you're running out of time. Hey, you're running out of time. Instead, every day that you get closer to the deadline, if you start adding more cool stuff, it makes that scarcity compound the power of the self-interest, right? So not only am I getting more stuff to fuel the self-interest, but I also have the emotional driver of scarcity, not wanting to miss out, making this all the more powerful. Okay, so that is like the overall structure of how the pitch worked. All right, so I think that makes sense. And this is straight out of Mass Control. This is called stacking the cool. You add bonuses as you get closer to a deadline. I just happened to do it in this live environment, and it worked really, really well. But there was a lot of stuff that I was also doing that was talking to the subconscious. I was using something called close stacks. And all you members that are watching this, you will recognize this because I've taught some of this to you guys before. This is something that's never, ever been publicly released except for to members and customers. And I'm about to walk you through some of them right now because this is pretty cool. I got to tell you, here's what I'm looking at. This is pretty neat. So we can go now to the slides, and I'll bring up the official part of the presentation that I have for you. Okay. Alrighty, here we go. So let's talk about stacking. Okay. So just making an offer. So if I were to have just said, you can come back to me for just a minute. If I were to have just said, hey, I'm going to give you high-level fellowship for free when you join Kern Inner Circle. Isn't that great? It's really good. It's really valuable. That would work pretty good. That's where most people stop. Right? Most people stop when they end the pitch. They're like, okay, and here's the risk reversal or whatever. Thanks so much. You should really buy it. It's great. That is actually the beginning of the pitch. Okay? What I'm going to share with you now could literally change your business forever. That is my hope for you. Okay? So close stacks. Basically, a closing stack is a reclose. It's when you pitch again in the same offer. Right? You either state an objection and overcome it, or you approach the close from another angle, okay? And we have like actual scripts to follow as well. So the first stack is the pros and cons stack, all right? The pros and cons. And it would look like this. I didn't use this on you, but I'm going to teach it to you right now anyway, right? So let's see here. We'll come back to me, okay? And let's see here. So if I were to have used this, which I really should have, I just forgot to use it. Dang, it works great. What was I thinking, right? In fact, I think I even have it in the slides, and I forgot that it was in the slides. But here's how the pros and cons do. Let's say you're giving a group presentation, right? Or you're on a video. You're not even talking to anyone live. You're talking to a camera. Or you're writing this in a sales letter. It doesn't matter. What you want to do is you want to state the objection and then go to pros and cons. And here's how we would do it, all right? I would have said something like this. You know, guys, you're probably wondering right now, should I do this, right? Should I enroll in the current inner circle? And you know what? Before you do, before you make that decision to enroll right now, by the way, notice that that's something called presupposition. I'm not saying if you make the decision. I'm saying before you make the decision, which is implying that you're definitely going to make the decision, okay? Before you decide to enroll right now today, here's what I want you to do. Let's draw a line down a piece of paper, and let's just list out all the pros and cons of being a member, because frankly, it really isn't for everybody. What am I doing right there? I'm shooting them straight, right? Let's start with the pros, okay? So here's the pros of being a member. Number one, you get personal help from me. So when you get personal help from me, what that means is we meet online, on video, every other Wednesday, where I can review your website, I can help you with your copy, I can help you with your sales process, I can answer any questions about your funnel that you've got. Plus, you get to see me help other members, you get to talk to them, you get to see what's working for them, and you get some ideas that you might have never even known existed, and hey, they might ask a question that you didn't even realize you need help with, but you need help with it, and that's a huge benefit. I think we can all agree that ongoing support and focus always trumps just buying a book and trying to read it every time. So that's pro number one. All right? Pro number two is you get implementation workshops every single week. Okay, so if I were doing that scripting, I'd say, you know, and the other thing that is definitely a pro of this is, look, selling stuff online, it changes all the time, right? We got to build funnels, we got to hook them up to shopping carts, we got to make sure the automation stuff works right. How do you make your web page look how you want it to look? If you have a timer, how do you make it a real timer and not one of those fake lame timers? If you want to do something cool, like put their first name on the web page when they go there, like how do you do all of that kind of stuff? How do you avoid overwhelm? Well, you know, a big pro of being a member is every single Tuesday, you can come on and we help you implement live. It's just like you're in our office. You come in, you're hooked up to the computer, we can see you, we can share your screen with you. Whatever you need help with, we got your back, right? And that's free to all members. That's just an additional member benefit. So obviously that's a pro. And the third pro would probably be easily Facebook ads, right? Now, one thing to notice is what did I show you constantly while we were working together over the past 3 days? Facebook ads, right? Every single day, I would show you, here's the revenue for today, here's the revenue for yesterday, here's the return on ad spend, here's the return on ad spend over the last 3 days total. What's that doing? It's building a desire to be like, dang, this is clearly doable. This sucker's doing it right now, right here in front of us. This is awesome, right? So what does that do? It makes you want to run Facebook ads if you're not already running them. What can we do? We can help you with Facebook. When can we do it? Every single Friday, live, in person, not theory, not from some dude that took a course forever ago, not for $10,000 setup fee or whatever. We do it live every single Friday. It's either me personally or it's Dominate Web Media, which is the agency that we pay a lot of money to. They manage $3 million of Facebook ads every single month. Obviously, they know what they're doing, or else people wouldn't trust them with $3 million a month. That's $100,000 a day in ad spend. So I'd say, yep, that's a pro for sure, right? That's a really good one. Okay, cool. What else is a pro? Well, let's see. Number 4 is you get the campaign every month, right? So obviously, that's going to be a pro. Right? So you get a campaign every month. That's pretty sweet because you don't have to figure out what to say, how to say it. I literally give you the frameworks for everything, the blueprints, the process maps, the swipe files. Plus there's videos of me showing you how to do it. So you're never going to start the month going, oh, what do I do now? You just plug in this campaign, and the way we do everything, by the way, is all of the campaigns are meant to be evergreen assets. So over time, you're going to have this library of stuff that you can just deploy whenever you want to, or you can set it up to where it's always being deployed automatically to every new person who comes into your funnel. So that's pretty cool. What else is a pro here? Well, Another pro would be the fact that you get the newsletter. Okay, so the newsletter and just me just rambling about stuff, right? Wouldn't it be great to just work in our office every single day, all month, seeing over our shoulder exactly what's working and having me show you why it's working and then help you personally implement it in your business? That's what the newsletter does, right? That's what we do in the newsletter. I'm not just spouting opinions every month. There's actually not news. It's here's what we tested, here's what's worked, here's what's working, here's how to implement it immediately, right? That's what we do. So clearly, that's a pro because it eliminates the need for shiny objects. You're just getting what's working right now, fresh, all the time, right? So that's very, very helpful. So that's going to be a pro. Another pro is going to be the community, right? We have the private community. It's one of the greatest communities ever. Everyone's so cool in there. They're all helping each other. They're all showing you what's working for them. If you need help, you can ask the community. They'll help you. Everyone gets along. It's amazing, right? So that's another pro. So now I've just listed all these pros, right? Cool. But look, you don't want to come across as just some peckerhead that says, hey, there's no cons whatsoever. You want to be straight up with them, right? So let's talk about the cons, right? So now I say, okay, now let's make a list of the cons, right? Well, the cons are, number one, this isn't for everybody, right? I can't type, or I can't write and talk at the same time. I say, look, this is definitely not for everybody. Like, if you're not willing to actually do it, you're just going to end up with a bunch of information every month, right? And it's just going to sit there, and that's going to be worthless to you. So if you're not an implementer, and if you're not really serious about this, this isn't going to be for you. Number two, it's not really good for general business. Right? If you're like some dude with a paint store or something that's brick and mortar and you're just trying to sell more paint to people in the neighborhood, this probably isn't really what you're looking for because this is really hardcore direct response online marketing centric, right? So that's definitely a con. It's certainly not for everybody in that regard, right? Another thing, hey, look, this isn't cheap, right? I mean, it's not like ridiculously expensive, but you know, it's not cheap, right? So if you're used to, you know, buying things for $47 or whatever, and good for you if you are, but this is significantly more than your traditional membership site, right? So that might be a barrier to you. And if it is, if $397 is too much for you to do, well, first of all, you know, I can't tell you in good conscience that's okay, because if you have a business and spending or investing $397 in your business is going to hurt you, you're in really serious trouble. You have a 9-alarm fire level emergency going on in your business now, and you desperately need help, whether you get it from me or not. But that is what it is. That's the price of it. So for some people, that might not be what they're after. So you just list the logical cons, right? Because they exist anyway. Your prospect knows they're there, right? So there's no point in trying to gloss over them, okay? So you do the pros and cons, and at the end of that, you say, well, so if knowing all of this, this is how you really make the decision. So notice I've kind of having a conversation, but it's just me talking. But I'm talking as if we're actually having a one-on-one conversation. You could do this in print. You can do it in a video sales letter. You can do it at the end of a webinar. As a matter of fact, let me show you something. Here's how I did it at the end of the high-level fellowship webinar, right? So when I sold high-level fellowship, which you get for free when you become a member of the Kern Inner Circle, by the way, while we're doing this promotion, this little snippet I'm going to share with you was used during the close of that webinar when I sold it for $6,400, okay? So when I did that, I said, look, you know, I got to tell you this, as great as all of this stuff is, this isn't for everybody. So I'm going to list the pros and cons, right? So on one hand, we got, this is a proven methodology. It's working really, really well for me. I've been doing it forever. I've done it across all of these models, and it works for sure. Another good thing about all these models I'm going to share with you is, look, it doesn't take that many sales to add up to good money. Right? Like earlier, especially today, I'm just kind of going back. If I were trying to sell you high-level fellowship right now and say, look, I just showed you that one way, you know, tactically to generate $1.2 million a year from 30 clients, right? So that's, it's not that hard to sell 30 clients if you know what you're doing. So that's a pro. Because you don't need so many people, you don't need that much traffic. That's really, really cool, right? That's a pro. You don't need a big list because, again, you don't need that many customers. So that's a huge pro. You don't need to be an amazing copywriter because every single thing you're doing is actually just generating goodwill, demonstrating you can help them by helping them, which really means you're only doing stuff you're good at anyway. So that's really a really good pro. You don't have to sell hard because if you demonstrate enough value, they come to you. So that's really nice. And throughout the whole process, even if people don't become your client, you're really helpful to others, and that's just good karma. So obviously you can't go wrong doing that. On top of all of that, you get a lot of personal help from me, which is good. I've been here. I know you're going to have questions, and I'm willing to help you personally to do it. And you're surrounded by your peers, right? And you have that sense of fellowship because you're with a group of like-minded people who all have the same fundamental goal. So those are the pros, all right? And this is literally, guys, I'm like talking now to you, the audience, instead of doing the webinar pitch here. This is literally taken from that webinar, right? So this slide was using the webinar that sold this for $6,400. This is part of the close. So we'll go back here. Now, the cons are, remember, this is when it was $6,400. You're getting it free, by the way. But on the webinar, it was $6,400. So go, look, the cons are, hey, this isn't the cheapest thing in the world. I mean, obviously, right? That's $6,400. That's a serious investment to anybody. And on top of that, look, we're spending this 6 weeks together. It's a lot of time, right? It's not like I'm going to give you like one little simple thing and you can do it in your spare time. If you really want to make significant revenue and build a massive business, then you need to put forth the time and effort. So you're going to need to put forth at least a couple hours a week, at the very least, learning this. If you're not willing to do that, it's not going to help you. You're just going to end up with information that does nothing for you. And then you might have this next question, which is, what if it doesn't work for me? All right, so that's how I now segue, by the way, into another stack. Okay, so in this case, we now segue into stack number 2. So stack number 2 is the what I'm really hearing is language pattern. All right, what I'm really hearing is language pattern. So in this case, what you want to say, as a matter of fact, I actually had this built in the dang close for you. Let me show you how I would have done it had I not forgotten, just so I can demonstrate it in a non-theoretical fashion. So hang on. Pull up my file thingy here. Where are we? Part 1. I think this is it. Hang on, guys. Opening part 1. Yeah, look, I totally forgot all of these slides here. Like, just forgot they were here. So hang on. So this is how I should have finished that last offer, which still worked really, really well, but I forgot these close tags in here. So I'm at the end of the webinar. So this would be the end of the pitch that I just made, right, for high-level fellowship. You get high-level fellowship free when you join the inner circle. I forgot to do this section. So now we go, all right, guys, I know you're going to have a lot of questions, right? So here are some questions that everybody asks. Number 1 is, how much money will I make? Okay, so in this one I say, I have no idea. And that's probably not what you're really asking me. What I'm really hearing, right? So let me show you now. Notice the language pattern. What I'm really hearing when I hear that question is, how do I know this will work for me? Right? How do I know this will work for me? How do I know the inner circle is going to work for me? Right? How do I know? And the answer is, it won't. Something in your business is definitely going to go wrong. As a matter of fact, here are the 4 things that at some point will definitely go wrong in your business, whether you're working with me or by yourself. Okay? And then during this class, I say you have traffic, opt-ins, engagement, and sales. Those are the only 4 things. Either no one's going to click on your ad. If they do, they're not going to opt in or they're not going to buy your book. If they do opt in, maybe they won't open your email and stuff and read it. That's called engagement. And then you have the possibility where they go to your site, they opt in, they're reading your email, they're clicking your sales pages, and they're just not buying. One of those 4 things are bound to happen, right? And then I would go on to say, but here's the deal. If we know they're going to happen anyway, doesn't it make sense to have somebody in your corner that can help you with it live in person constantly? And then I would have that opportunity to repitch again, which I would say, look, if you're having trouble getting traffic, guess what? Every single Friday, we have Facebook Fridays. It's not run by some dude. It's run by Dominate Web Media. They do $3 million in Facebook ads management every single month. They manage my ads, right? Obviously, it's working. I've been showing you my Facebook stats every single day during the time we're working together. So yeah, you're probably going to have traffic problems eventually. You're definitely going to. That's why we're here to help you. And you know what? If people aren't opting in or they're not buying your book, you know what that really means? It means you need a copy tweak. Okay, that's all. It just means, it doesn't mean everything's broken. It just means that one little cog in the machine, we got to come in there with a wrench. We got to turn the wrench a little bit. And that wrench is just going to be copy. That's why you and I get on a video conference every other Wednesday, and I can help you tweak that personally. Because, hey, I'm pretty good at copy, right? So we can knock that out together. But for someone to tell you that everything's going to be perfect and nothing is going to go wrong, that's completely fictitious, right? They're just blowing smoke up your butt, okay? One of these problems are bound to happen. That's why you need to be a member, so we can personally help you. Turning to a course isn't going to help you. Logging into some course you bought a year ago is not going to help you. Going to forums and stuff isn't going to help you. You need the guidance from someone who's actually been there and who genuinely gives a damn. And that's what you get as a member. You see how I've turned that objection now into a way to repitch. I'd say the same thing. Now, the other thing that could go wrong is they're not opening your emails, right? That's what engagement means. Okay, so maybe they're not opening the emails. I got great news for you. If they're not clicking from your emails, it's one of two things. It's either they're not opening because your subject line is wrong, or they're not clicking because the email copy is wrong. Well, you know, I got good news for you. I've been writing emails since 1999. I've sent millions upon millions of them to customers just like you across all kinds of markets. I can help you. If you run into that problem, I got your back, right? And then the final one is, hey, maybe they're clicking your ads. Maybe they're opting in. Maybe they're reading your emails and they're going to your sales letter and they're not buying. Happens to everybody, right? It's very unusual for a sales letter to work the first time out. That's why you need a team of people like myself and your fellow members to help you come up with ideas to test, to look through the sales letter you've got or the video sales letter you have and give you positive, constructive feedback based on years of experience and based on tens of millions of dollars in personal sales and experience to help you actually do it. Now, doesn't it make more sense to give yourself the gift of that kind of constant, ongoing support than it does to do anything else, including doing nothing at all? Of course it does. Go ahead and go to joinfrankkern.com right now and enroll today. So what I just did right there, and I kind of did it on the fly for you, and I should have done it earlier in the pitch, was I did that what I'm really hearing is stack. Right? So I'd already made the entire pitch. Notice where that is right here in the presentation, right? This is after I've given the final call to action, right? So I'm right there in that pitch, okay? So let's see. Let's go back to this next. I hope y'all are enjoying this. I love teaching this kind of thing, right? So boom, boom, boom. Okay. This was a theoretical example, but I want to give you a real world one. The next stack is called apples to oranges, all right? And this is amazing. And I did this a lot during our time together, so I'll kind of tell them myself. First, I'll give you a generic example, and then I'll give you mine. Okay, so let's take a fitness example, right? And let's say that the person's objection is time. Okay, so you're selling a fitness product, and in order for them to be successful with your fitness product, they got to exercise 30 minutes a day. And you're not going to beat around the bush about that and lie, cheat, or steal, or be a butthole. You're going to be like, look, this is a pain in the ass. It's horrible. And you got to work out 30 minutes a day. But if you work out 30 minutes a day, you look like the person in the infomercial. So it's worth it. And now their logical objection is, I don't want to do that 30 minutes a day. Okay, so here's how we overcome it. Hang on. So you've made your pitch. All right. And now what we want to do is we want to address that objection. And we want to use the apples to oranges approach to transform it into something trivial. So you've made the pitch, you've given the price, you've given the guarantee, and you say, you know what? If you're on the fence about this, if you're sitting on the order form right now and you're thinking about clicking yes or whatever it may be, there's just something I got to get off my chest. A lot of people ask me, they say, you know what? This all sounds great, but I just don't have the time. Here's the thing. Look, I'm not going to BS you about what it takes to be successful. This takes 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week. You got to do that. There's no way to get around it. Anyone else telling you that's lying to you? Anyone else telling you that's just trying to make a quick buck off of you, selling you hot air and selling you empty dreams? But the fact of the matter is 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week. You got to do it. And if you think about it, we know it's our natural inclination to go like, oh, I just don't want to do that. I don't have time. But let's get real with each other right now. I really care about you, so I'm going to get real with you right now. 30 minutes a day is one part of one episode of The Real Housewives of Orange County. It's actually less than one episode of The Real Housewives of Orange County. That's what 30 minutes really is in your life, isn't it? It's only 30 minutes. You can't even watch a whole episode of Real Housewives of Orange County in 30 minutes. So I'm curious. I want to ask you just a real honest question right now. Which would you rather have? Would you rather have a toned body with tons of energy, or would you rather have an incomplete episode of Real Housewives of Orange County? Look, we both know your health, your vibrance, you feeling good about yourself, you looking amazing in whatever clothes you want to wear is way more important than half of an episode of Housewives of Orange County. Don't let a TV show become between you and the body that you deserve. Click yes right now and let's get started today. See how I did that? We did apples to oranges comparison. We took the 30 minutes and we made it about something completely stupid, which it really is stupid. I mean, any time objection is almost always bullshit, right? I mean, come on. We spend so much time looking at our phones or whatever. Hey, you want to get like 10 times more stuff done? Delete Facebook and Instagram from your phone. I did it. Amazing. Get a whole lot of stuff done because I'm not like, oh, what are people saying on Facebook? People could be saying anything they want on Facebook right now. No idea. Not on my phone. Don't look at it, right? I have one thing to do. Serve members. That's it. Life's pretty simple. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how I did both of these, right? So let me give you stack number 4, and then I'll show you how I did it. Okay, so the next one is chunking the price. Okay, so price is always an objection, no matter what, right? Even a price as trivial as $3.97 a month, it still can be an objection in people's mind because we don't want to spend money on stuff. I would rather have a whole bunch of money than spend it, right? Everybody would. So in this case, for this particular example, I'll give you this example, then I'll show you how I did this, right? So let's say you're selling something for $3,000. So first thing you need to do is you need to acknowledge that objection. You might say, you know what, by the way, a lot of people tell me this is expensive. And you know what, it really is expensive, right? Now you notice I did that. I said, hey, it's not prohibitively expensive, but it's expensive enough to keep the knuckleheads away. And now what we want to do is we want to fast forward a year from now. So I'll just sort of do this. Let's say that we're still selling that same physical fitness product, which of course is fictitious. But you know what? Let's fast forward a year from now and assume you've been following along and you actually did the exercises. Your body, it's a year from today, your body's totally transformed. Your husband's chasing you around the house so much, you're literally having to skip showers just hoping that you'll smell bad and keep him off of you. And you got more energy than a troop of Boy Scouts after an espresso drinking contest. You feel amazing. You're a brand new person. You get looks on the street, you feel great, and your husband can't keep his hands off of you. How would that feel to you? I really want to know, what would you feel like if you actually lived like that and that was just a normal day in your life? Well, I want you to think about something right now. I want to get real with you because you know what? We're not going to get results if we can't get real. If you take that $3,000 investment and we divide it by that year, that's just $8.21 a day. Now, blam, look what I just did. I just chunked down the price. It's no longer $3,000. It's $8.21, right? It's a lot easier to palate, okay? Now we start doing a little bit more of the apples to oranges, kind of. Right? In this case, I say, what's more important, $8.21 or having your husband chase you around like a teenager? $8.21 or having the energy to play with your kids no matter what time it is? $8.21 or looking so good your friends secretly think you had some kind of procedure? $8.21 or the incredible pride you feel every time you look in the mirror knowing that you took control of your life? All right? Here's another way you could even go further. Hey, if I need to, I'll even send you a check for $8.21 right now to cover your first day if it's that big of a deal to you. Why? Because $8.21 is nothing. I'm not going to miss it, and neither would you. But hey, if that's what it takes to help you get the body you deserve, I'll have it on your doorstep tomorrow. Just call or email me after you enroll, and I'll send you $8.21 by FedEx. You know what's funny? The shipping is even more, costs even more than the actual check, but I'll do it anyway if that's what it takes to help you. So we made it, instead of $3,000, we made it about two things. Number one, $8.21. Number two, what's more important to you? The outcome or the $8.21, right? Which one would you rather have? Now, during the presentation, I did that several times, and I did it in several ways, but I want you to look back or remember back to how I did this. So the way I did it was I said, now, yeah, it's $3.97. It's not super expensive, but it's not cheap, I know. But let me ask you a question. Remember the story? Imagine we're at a seminar, and it's one of those big seminars, and there's like 500 people there, and I have to sell something, even though I hate selling things from seminars. And so I'm up there and I've just delivered. I've done the best job I could. I've helped as many people as I could. And I know that the audience is really, we're in sync, we're in rapport. Now it's time to make an offer. And because I hate selling, I want to sell the easiest thing in the world to sell. So I say to the audience, listen, I can't do this for everybody here. But for 7 people, here's what I can do for you. You can come to my office every day. And you can sit, here's my desk. You can sit right here beside me all day, every day. And you're going to look over my shoulder. You're going to see me write every single email. You're going to see me write every single ad. You're going to see me manage the Facebook accounts. You're going to see how I run the business. You're basically going to see how I generate revenue every single day, how we plan promotions, how we write winning copy, the whole 9 yards. And during that entire time, I'm going to be showing you exactly how to do what I'm doing, and I'm going to show you how you can do it in your business. I'm going to open up your laptop, and I'm going to look there, and I'm going to say, okay, no, you see that button? I want you to put that orange buy button under the video. And we're really going to get that granular and specific. We're going to do that every day for a month. And then at the end of the month, we're going to create a summary of here's everything that you learned, and here's action steps to implement every single thing that you learned over the course of the month together. So you're going to be totally immersed in working with me in this business, getting the results you want every single day for a month. I can only do this for 7 people, and the offer is $10,000. How quickly do you think it would sell out? The answer, of course, it would sell out instantly. Who wouldn't want that offer, right? Because obviously I can help them. I just demonstrated I could help the audience by helping them in advance using the blanket of goodwill approach that I shared with you. It would sell out instantly. Well, let me tell you something. It's exactly the same thing you get when I send you that newsletter every month, showing you what's working right now, personally in video, showing you exactly how to implement in your business. The difference is you don't have to spend $397, right? So I took one thing and made it into another. So I've used a very, very similar approach, right? And then I can say, which would you rather have? Would you rather have $397, which could maybe buy 1/2 of a pair of shoes for your wife or something, right? Or would you rather transform your business and create assets that continue to provide for your family forever? Which is more important to you? Make that decision right now. And if your business isn't where it should be, then maybe you've been making decisions that aren't serving you. Isn't it time to make that change today? Right now, where we can work together and really get you on the path to where you want to go. Go to Join Frank Kern right now and let's get started. So you see how I did that, right? So that is an example of chunking the price and kind of an example of apples to oranges as well. Now what I like to do, my favorite, is chunking an apples to oranges combo together, okay? So in this case, I'll just tell you what I did, right? In fact, let me show you what I did. I'll bring up the pitch. So here's well, hang on. It's hard for me to find it at the same time. So, boom. Okay. So here's the presentation. So what I like to do is chunk down the price, number one, right? So you chunk down the price at $397. If you do the math, that is just $13.05 a day. Okay. So now we've taken it, and you notice I did that thing. I'm like, look, you remember the story? Look, imagine that right now while you're watching me, your kids got their phone and they bought $13.05 or something from the App Store, right? And you found out about it. Number one, would you even give a damn, right? Maybe you would care, but you probably wouldn't care about the $13.05. You'd probably be more like, hey, you're supposed to ask me before you buy stuff. But look, no one's going to give a damn about the $13.05, right? Like $13.05 isn't going to change your life. It's nothing, right? You probably wouldn't even notice it. Because it is trivial. You can't even get half of a movie ticket for $13.05, right? So what I've done is I've taken the price and chunked it down to the daily amount to make it really seem as ridiculously cheap as it is, because it really is nothing, right? I mean, and then we take the other angle, right? When I said, and by the way, if $13.05 is going to matter to you, buddy, you're in serious trouble, okay? You are in serious financial trouble, and you desperately need help. Whether you get it from me or get it from somebody else, you desperately need help. Right now is your wake-up call. If you answered yes to that, and $13.05 actually matters, you are in so much financial trouble that your ability to provide for the people that you love is in jeopardy. You need to fix it right now. I'm inviting you to let me help you fix it, or I'm inviting you to find someone who will help you fix it. But whatever's been going on is not working, and as your friend and someone who cares about you, I'm telling you, get some help before it's too late. And by the way, I mean that sincerely. The way I'm able to do that with such sincerity is because I freaking mean it. $13.05 matters to a business person. You don't have a business. You got a disaster, right? You're in serious trouble. But notice how instead of making about $397, now it's about $13.05 a day. So that's an example of chunking down the price. But now let's do chunking an apples to oranges comparison, right? So now I said, hey, look, who cares about $13.05? I mean, I did a search on Google for what you can buy for $13.05. And the most compelling thing I found was 1,305 Tootsie Rolls at a school cafeteria. So now it's apples and oranges time. I say, right, that was on Yahoo Answers. Which would you rather have? 1,305 Tootsie Rolls and the miserable stomachache and dental bill that follows, or Now, see, that's your apple, Tootsie Rolls, compared to orange. Or a ready-to-go marketing campaign completed by me or created by me personally. Let's face it, all right? $13.05 isn't going to change your life. But the work we do together can change your business, right? So that's how you do that. And I strongly, strongly, strongly suggest that you use that stack in your marketing. Now, it's aggressive, right? There's no way in 9 million years I would say something like that to someone unless we were in really good rapport, unless I'd already wrapped the blanket of goodwill around them. You never, ever want to do any of this stuff unless you've already demonstrated so much value to them and clearly demonstrated you can help them and actually helped them in the process. If you do that, you can get tough, right? You can be like, look, man, if you're worried about $13.05, A, you don't have a business, you got a disaster. B, you got to fix it, buddy. You're dying. You're on life support, okay? This isn't a game anymore. This is your wake-up call. Let's get to work right now and fix that problem. If it's not me, it's somebody. Find that person. I'm happy for it to be me, but if it's not me, you got to find it right now. If you're not right now making the decision to join this, get off your computer, call someone for help, and ask them to help you get out of this crisis because you are in crisis. See, you can't say that without the rapport. Right? So remember the stuff I just showed you earlier about, hey, let's take them through that escape and arrival, wrap the blanket of goodwill around people. That's how you do it, right? So you have to do that first. It's really, really critical. Okay, so I think we got 2 more of these to go. All right? So let's see here. Boom, boom, boom. So in this case, I did an example. I love Googling, by the way, like what can you buy for whatever the chunked down price is. You can find the most ridiculous things ever, right? So the imaginary price, I had that $3,000 price, came down to $821. And I just did Google, what can you buy for $821? And I found like you can buy a 2-piece small chicken dinner, right? Or you could buy a small barbecue plate, right? So that is really cool. So the what's more important is great. Now the next one is trust and story. Okay, and this is really, really good to overcome skepticism in general or self-doubt. And I can't tell you enough that self-doubt will kill your sales. And it has nothing to do with you, right? It doesn't mean they don't believe you. It doesn't mean you haven't generated enough value. It means that we as people a lot of times just have no belief in our own ability to do things. We love to edify others and we love just to beat the crap out of ourselves. I don't know why that is. Culturally, we just do it, right? So we really have to do a lot of work to overcome it. So one way to do it is through story. So you could have really any objection, and if it makes sense to do so, you could say, you know what I'm really hearing is how do I know this is going to work for me? And when I hear that, here's what I want to say. I want to say, I think you're asking me that because, number one, you either don't trust me or you fully don't trust yourself. You can use the scripting verbatim, by the way. And you know what? Listen, if I haven't earned your trust, then please don't enroll because I don't deserve it. I haven't done my job today, and I don't want something for nothing. It's okay. Look, my feelings aren't hurt. I apologize for wasting your time. So if we haven't built that trust together, that's fine. I'm not for everybody. It's okay, right? So if that's the case, then you really shouldn't enroll. But, you know, if you're still here right now and you're still watching this video, or if you're still reading this letter, or if you're still on this webinar or whatever, then what I really think you're actually telling me when you ask this question is, you know what, man? I've got some self-doubt here, and I'm not sure I can actually do this. And this is where we can tell a story. And we can tell a completely unrelated story, right? So you want to be kind and empathetic. You can't fake this, by the way. But you want to anchor the decision to purchase something, to purchase to something very positive, right? And so I'll just make up a story. Right? I'll say, look, I completely understand because I felt the same way about a lot of things in my life. Now, here's what's really cool about this. The story doesn't have to be about what you're selling. The story has to be about sticking to it and overcoming personal fear. All right, so I'll start again. I completely understand because I felt the same way about a lot of things. And when I feel that way, if I'm honest with myself, it's because I've tried something and I failed before, and I don't want to go through the pain of that failure again. Okay, so, and I want to help you right now by telling you an embarrassing story. I'm with the script here, okay? Now, don't copy this script exactly. I'm giving you this as an example, okay? So please don't just go out. I don't want everyone to go out and tell this same story because it wouldn't be true, all right? So when I was a kid, I had terrible self-esteem, mainly because my stepdad and teachers told me I was stupid and lazy, and because of this, it made me really shy and awkward with girls. And because I didn't have any confidence, I was always amazed when I would get a girlfriend, and because of that, I'd let them walk all over me. I was worse than the guys in the movies who get dumped and cheated on. I made those guys look like Brad Pitt. Eventually, I got a girlfriend who didn't dump me and didn't cheat on me, and my family wanted me to get married, and I wanted to make them happy, so I thought, well, I'll never meet anyone better, so I might as well marry this one. So we got married. And I stayed in that marriage, and I was completely miserable for 6 years, and when I finally got a divorce, it cost me everything I had. My net worth dropped by about 99%, and I had 2 young kids I shared custody with, and I thought, well, I guess I'll become a monk because no woman is going to want to be with me at this stage. Then I met an honest-to-God cover model, and it was love at first sight, for me anyway. And I was so shy that I ended up tracking her down on Facebook after we met and waiting like a month or something before I ever even sent her a friend request. And then I started emailing her, and since I had hours to compose every message and response, she thought I was kind of funny. So when I finally asked her for her number, she gave it to me, and it took me like 3 days just to work up the courage to call her. And when I finally did, I had to do it in my car because I was so embarrassed that someone might overhear me sounding stupid on the phone. And the conversation was awkward, but luckily she didn't seem too repulsed by me. And I thought to myself, oh my God, I might actually have a chance here. Now, let me tell you, this woman's a perfect 10. And as they say, I figured the only way to get her to like me was to transform myself into a 20. And that's what I set out to do. So I hired a personal trainer. I went to counseling to overcome all the self-esteem issues, and I started courting her just like in the movies. Flowers, whole 9 yards. And I did that for almost 3 months before our very first date. And I guess she didn't realize that I'd become a 20. And the first date turned into a second date, and the second date turned into a third, and eventually we got married, and then we had 2 kids. And when I look at those kids at night, sometimes I think, thank God I didn't let my past failures keep these children from coming into the world. Now notice what I did there. I'm taking this could be self-doubt on anything about business, about fitness. This story is irrelevant to business, right? It's more about believing in yourself and pressing forward. So I've done 2 things. I've taken it and I've made it about something way more than it is. I've shifted the topic, and it's no longer about business or whatever. It's about something as important as human life, which is bringing children in the world. So now you close the story. And again, please don't copy this verbatim unless it's somehow miraculously true or whatever. This is just like a framework. So let me ask you, if you had a time machine and you could meet me the day before I made that first phone call to her, what would you tell me if I was about to let my past get in the way? Right? So now I'm putting it on them, because what would they tell me? Right? You can come back to me, Sass. What would they tell me if they had the time machine? They say, dude, get on the phone. You have no idea. You're going to get married. You're going to have 2 kids. It's going to be great. Right? So that's what they tell me. So now you shift the story back. You say, would you let me quit on myself? Or would you encourage me to give it my best? Of course you'd encourage me. And I'd do the same thing for you. In fact, that's what I'm trying to do for you right now. My one decision to pick up the phone and make that call changed my life forever. And it seems like you might be facing a similar decision right now. So let me ask you, are you going to let fear and self-doubt cheat you out of the future that you deserve? I'm here to tell you right now to stand up for yourself and claim the happiness you deserve. Hey, go to frankkern.com or go to joinfrankkern.com / go to joinfrankkern.com and enroll right now. That's a pretty good story. Got me kind of fired up there. That's how you overcome self-doubt. Look, self-doubt's here, right? It's one of your worst enemies, not only within yourself, to get things done. I mean, look, what's the number one reason we don't follow through with stuff? We come up with all kinds of BS excuses because we really don't have the belief in ourselves to follow through. It's true, right? So number one's your biggest enemy in terms of you accomplish anything, is self-doubt. It's also the biggest enemy of you selling anything because everybody has it. So using that type of story framework, you got to tell a true story. Don't make up a dang story. If you don't have one, tell a story of a movie, right? Hey, you know what? Remember that movie Rocky? Blah, 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 blah. Whatever, but tell a story, right? And eliminate that self-doubt. And it really does actually ultimately come down to a moment of decision. And that really was a true story, by the way. So next is worst case, best case, which I didn't do, which I should have done, okay? So this is similar to the pros and cons, but it's a little more conversational. So let's say you're at the end of the pitch. You're at the end of a webinar. You're at the end of a group pitch. This could even be the PS of a sales letter. It could be a video sales letter. It doesn't matter how you present this, right? So you've already made the pitch. You've done all these stacks and stuff. You can do all 7 of these things, by the way, if you choose, and you should, right? So now you're at the end. You say, look, if you haven't enrolled in the current inner circle already, I can only think it's because you're worried about making a bad decision. And you know what? Maybe you are. I'm not psychic. I have no idea. Who knows? Maybe this is not for you, right? But let me ask you a question. What if you're not making a bad decision? What if you're making a great decision? I mean, look, let's get real for a minute, all right? Let's say you become a member and you hate it, all right? Well, that's pretty much the worst case scenario, right? You become a member and you're like, that totally sucks. I wish I wasn't a member. Well, let's say it's the worst thing you've ever had and it's just awful, all right? Can you get it worse than that, realistically? I mean, seriously, like, it's not like you're going to become a member and then the world's going to explode. The worst possible situation is you become a member of the current inner circle and you're like, I don't really think I like it. Okay, so that's your worst possible situation, all right? Well, if that happens, here's how to fix it. Just let us know and we cancel the membership, right? It's like it never happened. It's like you hit a big delete button. Okay, so that's pretty easy, right? That's literally your worst case scenario. You just cancel and you're no longer a member. That's it. You send an email. You don't even have to talk to anybody. That's your worst case scenario. Here's your best case scenario. What if you become a member and you get some good ideas and you start implementing those ideas and you start making changes to your business and you start seeing the results that you want, and those results lead to the freedom that you want to have in your life, and those results lead you to provide better for your family and contribute more to your society and more to your community, and those results completely transform the quality of life for you and everyone that is attached to you. What if that actually happens? Hey, look, you're still here. You're still reading this. You're still watching this. So you know you got a pretty strong gut feeling that this is exactly what you've been looking for. Let me ask you a question. What if your gut feeling is right? Look, 90 days from now, as a member, you could have completely revolutionized your entire business. Heck, even 30 days from now. You could have deployed one of the campaigns that I give you and you could have seen amazing results from it. 1 week from now, you could be on a live video conference with me personally and I can transform your ad copy from a loser to a winner, and next thing you know, you're in the black, right? That can happen. So, isn't it at least worth trying? After all, the worst thing that can happen is you get to hit the delete button on the whole thing and you get your money back. You're not a member anymore. You still get to keep Info Business Blueprint. You still get to keep the Alchemy recordings. You still get to keep the high-level fellowship training. You still get to keep upscale continuity. You still get to keep the finished book funnel blueprint product. All of that's yours to keep. You just don't have to be a member anymore. That's your worst case scenario. So that's not so bad, but the best case scenario is genuinely life-changing. So go ahead, go to joinfrankkern.com and let's get started and enrolled today, right? So that's how you do that stack. Now, thank you so much, by the way, for joining me on this these 3 days. This has been awesome. By the way, I've never done anything like this. I totally sweated it the whole time. Oh my gosh, what if I run out of material, right? We ended up going long every time, which was great. And I really, really liked it. Everyone who gave us good feedback, thank you so much. It really means a lot when you say that you enjoyed it and you got good value from it. I'm just here staring at cameras, right? I can't actually see it until after I'm done. So it's really, really nice of you to do it. Everyone who shared this with your friends, thank you so much. Thanks so much to everybody else. Take it easy and have a good day.
E caso tenha interesse em uma sessão de consultoria gratuita, onde eu posso te ajudar a implementar uma estratégia de marketing adaptada ao teu próprio negócio, basta visitar o site carlosmorais.com e enviar um formulário de aplicação. O único pré-requisito é que tu já tenhas o negócio operando, já esteja fazendo vendas e simplesmente queira acelerar os seus resultados. E até a próxima!